Hello and welcome back to the channel. With me today is Mr. Maloto and Clayton. And today we're bringing you, instead of just a normal Friday news show, we have a very interesting show. A show we've never really done before. I talked about the whiteboard in the last show. Here's the whiteboard. But today's show will all be about Pochettino versus Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. This is, by all means, I'm going to get this out of the way now. This is not an Ole out show. This is not bring Poch in right now. It's just simply a video to inform you guys on Pochettino. If you don't, if you're not familiar with Pochettino, his style of play, things like that, more in depth about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his comparison simply with Pochettino, what the difference will be between the two managers. So if you are new to the channel, please do consider subscribing, smash a like in the video, and comment down below any of your thoughts and questions throughout the show if you have any. But gentlemen, before we get into it, I must ask, it's been a while since we've last spoken, done a video. How are you both?
I know, feeling good. Like a lot of drama around United before the international break. But
Always.
yeah, as much as we love football, not having football can be rejuvenating because football can get a little toxic from time to time. So yeah, looking forward to the break and just coming back and seeing what Ole has for us.
Yeah, exactly. I think we all.
Yeah, definitely. We're very excited for what's to come, definitely. But injury worries before international break. Hopefully we can recover over this time. Hopefully it's a good down period for us and we can move forward from here.
Exactly. So, but yeah, Clayton, obviously, how are you also? You had food poisoning and everything. Are you good?
Yeah, about this?
Yes, all.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know, Clayton had food poisoning. The man was that, but he's glad. He's okay. He's feeling better, as you can see. He's here on the show. So, gentlemen, let's get into it. We've all been hella excited to do this video the whole week. I let you guys know like when 2 days before we record today on Friday. So, yeah, we all got. I'm sure we got all the notes, pages of notes here of the managers. Just general information, facts, and everything. Anything you guys want to discuss on the whiteboard or whatever, if want to bring your point across, just tell me, and we'll get straight to it. But let's start off with the main man we all know the most about is probably Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So we are a United fan channel for the majority of the time. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, right? Let's be honest. His favorite formation is a 4-2-3-1. I've written it down on the board. He has played a back five. We know he does play a back five. We know he's tried the diamond. But it's probably safe to say that if we ask, just general fans, the Man United fans, what is Ole's favorite formation, we'd always probably say a 4-2-3-1. It's probably the formation he's had the most success with. We've seen it, especially as soon as Bruno came into the team. It was the formation that led us to get Champions League football. And, on my whiteboard here, I've literally set out what I think is Ole's probably best, what Ole thinks is his best lineup with regards to the 4-2-3-1. So obviously, David De Gea in goal. Luke Shaw, because Telles will start to play, but for now, Luke Shaw, Maguire, Lindelof, and Wan-Bissaka, he's safe, back four. Then I left out Matic because I actually do think, when we had all those bunch of injuries and stuff, that Fred and McTominay was actually his favorite pairing in those midfield. And then obviously ahead of him, Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, and Martial. Now, as you can see already with this lineup, there are a few concerns as United fans. Where is Paul Pogba? Where is Donny van de Beek? Where is Matic? There are a few players missing. Where is Alex Telles? Some would even say. So, gentlemen, first of all, would you agree this is probably Ole's best formation and best squad that he in his head?
It is. I think so. I think we've been playing with Mata or with Greenwood is, but I'd like to see Greenwood because I feel like this formation is in desperate need of some offensive players.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Clayton, you agree also? This is Ole's best formation and for the players he picks as well?
Yeah, definitely. And can I really touch on some tactical in-betweens that I've learned about researching this video?
Sure, go for it.
So, like you said with Greenwood, we definitely need the injection of a goal-scoring ability on that right. But I think he's also trying to recreate a similar system to what Poch did at Tottenham, where he put Eriksen on the right wing specifically. But Eriksen's obviously a lot more of a hard worker than Mata is. So it's exactly the same thing, but it's putting a creator out wide versus playing them centrally. And it seemed that was his goal, doing that. But it also kind of created an overload of creativity and not enough work rate with that creativity, so it didn't quite work. In my honest opinion, I don't think Mata works against the good teams. I don't think he's good enough for that anymore. Maybe in his prime, but we are dealing with a 30-plus-year-old Mata at this point. He can barely make it through a 90 if we're pushing it. Yeah. So as much as Ollie's tried to create a more creative midfield. It just hasn't worked, and we definitely need that injection of Greenwood again.
I mean, you say this, right? So now, just to touch back on the whiteboard, I would like to get Malota's thoughts on it as well, because we know with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when he plays this formation, right, I always see weaknesses in this team, and it's mainly in this box here, over here, and in this box over here, Because, you know, when we compare Poch to Ole, what do we see with Ole's team? You know, with Ole's team, I mark this as weaknesses because Rashford and Greenwood, they're not natural wingers, first of all. They don't really come and track back, you know, and do the defensive work that natural wingers do. So most of the time, those areas are left open and had to be dealt with either Fred or Scott McTominay. Fred is on his left foot, so obviously, you know, it's more suited for that side of the midfield. And Scott, you know, is also an engine. So that, and you know, it's a big problem because we know our fullbacks also under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We always said on the show, when is our fullbacks the best at? When they always maintain this sort of area and they stay back and wide. But when we see with Ole is that his best performances do come when our fullbacks stay a bit low and wide, you know, and maintain more of a defensive fullback formation than, you know, the natural fullback, you know, just bombing forward and run. Ole's obviously tried it. We've seen the likes of Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka burst upward into these areas with Rashford, in fact. Shaw would come all the way up to the field with Rashford to try and link up. And Wan-Bissaka also comes all the way back up and, you know, tries to do things. And, you know, I'm not blaming Ole for that. That is how the modern fullbacks work. But we pointed out that Greenwood and Rashford don't help out in defense again. And because Ole loves playing those two high lines, this whole area is open then. Because Rashford won't come back. Greenwood ain't coming back. Shaw and Wan-Bissaka will have to run the whole field. And we've seen it countless of times. How many times do we get hit on the break when teams counter us? Like, it is a weakness. And then Maguire and Shaw, Lindelof, left for dead. So, in my opinion, this is the weakness. But I think when we show Pochettino's 4-2-3-1 and how his one works, it'll be actually a lot more interesting. But Pelota, with regards to this Ole's 4-2-3-1, is there anything specific you want to point out that I haven't already? You know, where the weaknesses of this formation is, you know, and any ideal problems where it thrives in, actually, anything like that?
You know, I think I agree with you in terms of the weakness, but I'm not entirely sure what that's down to. And I think it might be a mixture between quality of players and the setup of the defensive shape. Because how many do we really have natural wingers anymore? Do we really have wingers who track back, who keep their width? It doesn't really happen anymore. We tend to play with three narrow strikers. We see Liverpool do it, and they're the best team in the world, or have been for some time. So I think there's a big problem in how we set up that four in Fred, Scott McTominay, or when we're playing a high line, Matic, Maguire, and Lindelof, in terms of filling in the positions for those fullbacks. Because I feel if Maguire and Lindelof were quicker and were better on the one-on-ones, it'll be easier for them to protect the goals when it's a situation where Shaw and Wan-Bissaka push too high. And at the same time, I feel like at least one between Fred and Scott McTominay has to and fill in for Shaw or Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And I feel like we don't do that effectively enough. And what is that down to? Partly tactics, partly quality of players, really.
Yeah, we'll actually speak about, because like I said, like we all said, actually, is that this is Ole's best team in his head. But there is no Paul Pogba. There is no Donny van der Beek. There is no Matic. You know, ideally, there is no one holding CDM. So there is problems. And, you know, before we get onto anything, actually, I wanted to bring this in because, you know, I took this from the official Premier League website. Okay, so don't come with me with any fact stats or anything like that. So this is from the official Premier League website, and it's just the manager's Premier League records, right? So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, right? So he's played 84 games in the Premier League. He's won 36, won 36, drew 20, lost 28. That is a win percentage of only 42%. Right? It's a win. So Ole basically 42% chance of winning in the Premier League. I mean, is that really surprising considering the way we started this season and the way last season went? You know, we just scraped with our lowest points tally. And, you know, that's the thing. Like, I know people can say Ole, he beats the big ticks. You know, when the big games come, he does, you know, pull out results. And then I look at Pochettino's record, right? So Pochettino's Premier League record is 256 Premier League games. A lot more than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, right? But that, you know, he has been managing for a lot longer. He has won 132 out of those 256 games. He has drawn 61 and has lost 63. And his win percentage is 51%.
Imagine, in a longer period of time.
51%. It's basically what, 9% more than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
Yeah.
And
Like
Pochettino is not known for beating the big teams.
Yeah, they win a lot of games at home. They had a very strong home record, like we see at Liverpool. So that makes sense. Look, into the Ole for me, I think the pinnacle of our playing style was after lockdown. And I think a big part in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being successful is trying to recreate that period where we were extremely consistent. Like, I have a couple of stats here. In terms of the points we're getting, we improved from 1.55 per game to 2.6 per game. Goals we were scoring, we improved, and this is before lockdown and after lockdown. We improved from 1.51 to 3 goals per game. Remember, we were scoring 3 goals like mad every single game. And the goals we conceded, we went from 1.03 to 0.6. So that just shows the high level of football we're playing in that period. And on top of that, we've been complaining about consistency. In every game in that period, we played the 4-2-3-1. So I think that was a period where one can say Ole showed he can do it. And into how we're playing, I was comparing Pochettino's style and Ole's style, and it was actually very similar. I was very surprised. We were having Mattis drop into the back and the defense, which was making a 3. We're having fullbacks push very high, and we're having our front players play very narrow, and it was very effective. So can Ole recreate that? That's the big issue with me. And I think the first game he was really found out was the Sevilla game. I think that really exposed that once a team figures it out, Ole doesn't seem good enough to the style is not drilled in the team enough for it to be consistent and to even beat the odds when teams look at our weaknesses and try to expose that. So
yeah,
that's
actually,
what I noticed.
It's funny you bring that up. Because actually, it's in one of my notes here is that, on something I watched yesterday, and, just all the articles I was reading about Pochettino, is that in the Poch teams, is that this is also his favorite formation, 4-2-3-1.
It is.
But he could change it so easily, and the team was so well drilled that it can become a 3-4-2-1, or it can become whatever it needs to be to beat the opposition. It is so well drilled. Yeah. And sometimes I wondered, can Ole really tactically do it as much as Poch? Is the coaching staff exactly, and is the coaching staff around him even good enough? Because you look at Carrick, Phelan, McKenna. I mean, they're not. If you look at their background, they're not really. They were scouts. One was a scout. One was a youth manager, a youth coach, and now they're all head coaches and managers for Manchester United Football Club. I mean, it's not only solely on Ole, but I get with another positive with Poch coming in is that Pochettino will probably not keep McKenna. He won't keep Mike Phelan. He won't keep probably Michael Carrick. He probably will come with his own coaching staff. So, and he'll come with the coaching staff that will drill, his tactics into the team. But before we finish with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, right? If you mentioned the goals, expected goals, right? So Ole has played 84 Premier League games, like I said. He scored 131 goals. His team has scored 131 goals in 84 games, and he's conceded 117 goals. Pochettino has scored 445 team goals in 256 matches, which is quite ridiculous, and conceding 272. Obviously, there's a big difference because of just the amount of games Poch managed in the Premier League. But again, it seems like it's like to concede almost as much as you score just shows us the problems why we're in the Premier League.
Yeah,
he nearly conceded as much as we've scored, which is in theory it's like a draw every game. We're averaging about a point each game.
Yeah, I think it's about the effectiveness of your system and how well your players know it. Because I feel every manager gets found out. Pep's been found out. But it doesn't happen over a couple of months. And that's the scary thing with Ole. Like, we came back from lockdown and people, obviously, other teams want to spit and fitness wasn't on the same level. It depends how you worked and how effective your work was. And we were coming with a new style that people didn't know. And it worked for a couple of weeks, but then it got to a point. And I think the notable point was Southampton, where it seemed like from there onwards, people just knew how to stop us. And there was nothing else. We couldn't alternate like Pochettino does really well to kind of counter that. And that's worrying. We couldn't break teams. When teams figured out how to mark Pogba and Bruno Fernandes and how to deep, we couldn't break it down anymore.
When you put a cross by this man and mark him out the game.
Yeah.
And now look, let's just say Bruno wasn't here, right? Let's just erase Bruno like he was never here in this team because he's marked out the game. Now look at the rest of those players in the field. Guys, where are we getting that creativity from?
Yeah,
There
done
it
this
is.
because
Who in that team is
why he's
gonna
done this?
get the assist or the goals?
Why
If
he's
Bruno
done
is
this,
Yeah.
to be honest, is proof that this might be harsh, that he's not that tactically inclined. Because instead of trying to improve his system and make it more effective, he's kind of went for the cowardly way out and going for 2 CDMs to protect his centre backs. And that's what happened here. But yeah, no, it doesn't seem like he knows how to implement the tactics effectively enough.
Yeah. Clay, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's just he doesn't have a good grip on what he wants us to be doing overall. So it just leaves us very exposed in key areas, and any decent manager will be able to find this out. Like you said, early signs from the Southampton game. Ralph Hasenhüttl's a fantastic manager. Had Saints the top of the league for a few minutes the other day. And he's a fantastic manager. He knows how to rally a team. He knows how to structure a team. And it's very, very polarizing again to OLE. Even if we're just comparing the current Southampton manager. If you look back at Poch's old Southampton team as well, the stat was something like 120 kilometers on an average a game run, and it's the highest of the Premier League. Poch really drove his teams to work really hard. They understood what they had to do. They worked really, really, really hard. Ran non-stop. They worked and they worked and they worked and they worked. And this team, it feels like it's Bruno working or it's no working, in all honesty.
Yeah, I feel like for me, significant faults that I've jotted down is that I feel like, especially into the breakdown teams, we rely too much on individual talent, and we need a system that can optimize that talent, and we don't have that. And sometimes it seems like when we do try to play the high press, we just don't know how to do it, you know? So there's huge question marks over tactics, not to mention the amount of formations we played. Like, the amount of times we chop and change between formations doesn't help at all.
Yeah, because when I watch Man United play every weekend, and I look at like in my head, I'm thinking who should press who. Like let's just say one of their centre backs has the ball, right, and the other centre back is here. Now, in theory, Martial is supposed to go press that man, so he cuts out the passing lane, and Rashford is supposed to press the guy on the ball. But you won't see that. You will literally see Martial press the guy on the ball, and then that centre back who was not pressed will just get it, and then vice versa. It always seems like it's a half-hearted press, you know. It's just like a half-hearted press. It's never a full tactical press, you know, cut the passing lane. It's just much like, you know, whoever's closest to the ball at the time could press the guy on the ball, but then it makes no sense anyways, because there's supposed to be another guy pressing the guy without the ball, you know, cutting the lane. But there isn't that second man pressing, so it's just always one man press. That's what it is. On the ball press, which is not an effective press.
It's not really. And I feel like in this system, though, it can work if you're going to press.
It can work. We'll talk about Poch, because Poch plays this formation. He doesn't play a 4-3-3,
Even with OLE, I feel like if you're gonna press, you're not gonna go all out press, and you're gonna try press from time to time and keep your shape. It can work, but then I feel like there's a consequence of being very defensive and waiting to pounce when your opponents make a mistake and playing on the counter and relying on the counter. So yeah.
You know,
look, I think.
But if we wanted that style of football, why did we not just stay with Mourinho? That's the thing. If we're just going to sit back and wait for opportunity to attack, if we're going to be well-structured defense, because we're not even well-structured defense right now, we're just countering with no defensive structure, conceding as much as we're scoring, and barely getting through, mostly alone on individual brilliance. Some days Rashford isn't going to score that hat-trick. Some days Bruno is not going to get that through ball perfect, inch perfect, that it goes into the goal, that Rashford can miss a header. It takes a very special team to be able to pull those off despite making mistakes. And we do that time and time again. And we literally saw it last weekend. It's as simple as that. And we're just not good enough, to say the least. Especially under OLE. So why did we just stay with Jose if we wanted boring counter-attacking football? We wanted expansive attacking football. We wanted a manager to come in and show us how to play the game again, the United way that we used to.
I feel like us the fans wanted that, but I don't think the board thinks like that. I think they just saw OLE starting to win. We're like, he's winning, so we're going to give him the job.
You know, in the board said, you know, I'll touch on it later, but in the board said you get top 4 Champions League football, that's all that matters to them. And who's the perfect guy for that? Pochettino. He is the perfect guy for that, He has done. I'll read you along as we get to the show on Poch. But let's just speak on Oli, because that's what we are now, right? We are on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, right? Now let's just all pretend we're in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's shoes, right? This is clearly his favorite team. He loves this formation. But now I want to ask you guys. You guys see the whiteboard. You guys see the names on the whiteboard. What does this team to make it right?
Become Poch.
And technically. Become Poch. It's an easy answer, become Poch.
For
So
me,
what you need to change it. But go for it.
Because remember, like I said, there is no Donny van de Beek. There is no Paul Pogba. There is no Matic. So there is Maguire and Lindelof, which we've seen is a weakness as well. So
look, I think it can work. It can work. But I feel like we need to stop.
Top 4. This team right here.
We need large-scale changes to make that work, I think.
Because it's not actually this is our, like, let's just say this was only our team for the rest of the season. I don't know if I think this team can get top 4. But I still see McTominay as a weakness. I still see Maguire and Lindelof as a weakness. And then Rashford and Greenwood, I think they're just not the type of wingers, and I don't think they're coached well enough to play that inside forward role that they are meant to play.
Look, I feel like if he doesn't want fullbacks to bomb up and Shaw and Wan-Bissaka are going to stay back, if Lindelof and Maguire are going to be restricted by Fred and Scott, it can work. But I feel like we need to stop being reactionary. We need to stop changing it too many times, the shape of how they're set up and how they move in transition. Because if we have a sense in transition and a proper way of transitioning most of our games, then we'll be able to be more effective on the transition against most teams. I think that why we can't beat the smaller teams is because we're changing too much. Yes, it's okay changing against Man City. It's okay making small changes against Liverpool. That's fine, because at the moment, they are the bigger team. We have to accept that they are a more talented team than us. But we shouldn't be changing for smaller teams. And we should have a set way of play and how to break down these teams and drill it in every single training session. And I feel like if you can do that, there's more than enough attacking talent on the board, in my opinion, to break small teams down. Honestly.
Because like I said, when I look at Rashford, Bruno, Martial, Greenwood, I'm like, there's more than enough firepower to definitely beat big teams. It's just how about how to get that firepower to them. Because like I said, I back Fred, but I think Fred is the defensive anchor in this team, and I think there's not enough creativity in my opinion. There isn't enough creativity. Greenwood is not creative. He's just an out and out goal scorer. Martial's a hard worker. He can be a goal scorer. He's a bit of both. He's an all-rounder. Martial's an all-rounder. Rashford is very one-dimensional. We know what we can get from Rashford. Bomb down forward, cut in, take a shot. I don't, like I said, how many times I say Rashford needs to sweat a goal, which we don't get enough to do. We'll talk about Poch and how he actually gets
these players.
But it just seems like our players aren't drilled to do it. So again, it just comes down to tactics.
They're not coaches. They're not all have coaching brains. So if you're gonna ask them to perform an individual talent, you're gonna only get so much out of them. So I feel like he's not optimizing his players.
It's like if Oli says, Rashford, I want you to play the way you play. Then Rashford's gonna literally do the same thing. Run forward,
he's gonna have a ceiling.
Cut in, have a shot. Why aren't you telling Rashford, now you're very good at that. You can beat the man. So beat the man, drive forward like you normally do. But when you're there, Martial, I don't want you to come in and look for the ball. Be a striker. Stay there. Rashford, when you see Martial, pass it to him, score it, tap it in. It's not rocket science. It really isn't. But I am worried because I think Oli said it's not even like an opinion or something. Oli came out in a press conference and said, I want the boys to go out and enjoy themselves. So in my head, that is telling Marcus Rashford, play you, Martial. I think he has coached Martial, so I think Martial is an exception. But I do think he tells people like Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, play how you play. Do what you do, and if it pays off, we win the game. If it doesn't pay off, we don't win the game because there's a lack of coaching and there's a lack of tactics.
I feel like
100%.
if you're not making exact patterns for Rashford, Bruno, and Martial to play, you're relying too much on emotion. So if they're up for the game, they will play the 1-2s effectively. But on days they're not, now we can't break down teams. It doesn't seem like high-level coaching to me. If you're not extracting Fred on how to recover and how to drop deep exactly, and having rotation between your centre-backs, your full-backs, and your CDMs, and if you're just relying on, yes, obviously you're going to give them a slight guide. You'll tell them, Matic, I want you to drop deep. And if that's it, and it's not more technical than that, then you're relying too much on the players in football IQ, and it's not good enough.
Yeah. And let's
100%.
go on Oli, because we have spoken about Oli only really, and we've mentioned Poch obviously, but this has mainly been the Oli section. But touch on Oli. We know everything about Oli, right? I've just shown you this because just to reinforce you in case you wanted to see it on paper. This is how it is on paper. This is how Oli works. Like I said, he loves these Rashford included just to bomb forward. Marshall comes, stops, and usually finds the ball and then releases it to one of the wingers. So they're more inside forwards. Let's say inside forwards. Let's not say wingers. Inside forwards. That's what they like doing. Inside forward is literally a player who doesn't go to the wing. They come inside and they like almost as a striker. That's exactly what inside forward.
Which is fashionable nowadays. Really.
Which is fashionable, and we'll show how it'll work because we'll get to Poch now. So with regards to Oli, we know everything. You've been watching our channel. You've been watching, I'm sure, United your whole life. We know how Oli operates. It's nothing new to us. This is probably his best team. We all know there's weaknesses in it. So with Oli will be mentioned again. But let's get on to the main.
No, before we move on.
Okay.
Before we move on, I want to ask a question. As much as Ole has had his faults at Manchester United, one, we did finish third. We can't outrule that. Two, there was a period where, as I mentioned, after lockdown, where it seemed like something was going well. And one can put that to maybe getting better players. And I've said I think coaching also plays a part. Three, I feel like there's a lot of players on the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer who have improved. Fred, who wasn't playing under Mourinho, you can say he's a significant improvement. Martial and Rashford, they're scoring a lot of goals now.
No, it's funny you say it because I have it under the pot section. That's why I haven't brought it up yet. But I have written down that, but finish your list. But but the players improved. And
yes, as much as you can't just win the league by beating the big teams, you have to beat everyone. But we have had really, really good, as much as we're relying on the counter, we had really, really good performances against really, really good teams. So the question I want to ask is, Poch aside, let's forget Poch. After 7 or so games, or is it 7 we play in the league? Get Poch out of the equation. After that many games, and after what Ole has done and not done at the club, do you guys think he deserves the sack? Poch out
It was up to me. And, this international break came, and I'm looking where we are on the league table. And I'm thinking, yes, he did get third last season, but I was still skeptic about the way he got third. He did. It's not like the Glazers really didn't spend money. They should have spent more money. I'm not. This is not you fucking bastards should have spent more money on this squad. You have the money. We have the money. But 80 million pounds for Harry Maguire. 45 million pounds for Bruno Fernandes. If the way I see it is, if Bruno didn't come in this team January, Oli would have been gone, because he wouldn't have got Champions League and he would have been fired. And I've seen it again against Everton. You take Bruno Fernandes out of that Everton game, done.
I don't know.
So
that's the thing.
In my head, irrespective of what has happened, I think Oli does deserve the sack.
What do you think, Clayton?
We could literally shift it straight back to Mourinho once again. Man finished second, got us Champions League.
Yeah,
literally only second.
About Mourinho.
He sacked by Christmas.
Oli, I think he's getting time. One, because the fans do love him. We can't really we're probably in the minority of Oli houses. Fans love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's a club legend. Two, and the Glazers love him. He's cheap. He doesn't say anything bad. He loves this club. We won't ever, down tools on it. The players love him. So there is no sentiment. It's like it's too much sentiment in firing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's like you had your best friend, your best mate, and he's your manager. He's doing very badly, but you want to keep him there because he's the guy you like. Everyone likes him. He's the nice guy.
Look,
everyone wants it to work out. I'll be lying if I said I couldn't wish Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to be a master manager. And by all means, if he was the man to take us to the Premier League trophy, great, absolutely, I would love it because he's a club legend. I love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. By the managing out of it, it'll never change my opinion of him being a legend of this club.
Yeah, he's a legend. Look, I feel like I sit on Ole unsure at the moment because one, I do think the whole Poch thing is fueling the fire because Poch is available. It wants us to pull the trigger. It makes us want to pull the trigger faster. But I feel like besides Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, there's a lot of problems with this club.
Yeah. And United aren't the team that fires managers quick.
They're not.
You look at the way Barca are playing, you look at the way Madrid are playing, PSG are playing, and even Pep now.
He might
One of
go
those
there.
managers goes, and if
That's the big one.
Poch goes to another team, I guarantee you, Oli will still carry on being inconsistent. We'll be in the same boat.
Yeah.
And when eventually the Glazers decide to pull the trigger on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, then there's problems. Who is that manager? I don't want personally. I don't want an Allegri. Nagelsmann, he's already in a job, so we can get him, but he's already in the job. Poch is easy. He wants the United job. We can see it in his face, the way he talks on Sky Sports. You'd be lying he's rejected Barcelona. He wants the Premier League Man United job. That's the job he wants.
Yeah, I feel like we'll get to.
But how long will he keep on waiting? Yeah, how long?
We'll get to. Is Poch too good to let go? But I'm not sure if Ole deserves the sack yet. To be honest, I feel like for me, the inconsistency is the reason that I'm gonna eventually say Ole out. But at the same time, this club has had a lot of problems. We haven't won the league in 7 years, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer hasn't been the manager all the time. We've got top level managers.
People say this, right? Yeah. Poch might not win us a Premier League trophy, especially under our owners. He might not win us Champions League under these owners as well. But you know what? Something also we haven't done as Manchester United Football Club, and I'm not saying this is where our standards need to be. I'm just thinking it's a step forward. When Oli came in, we were like, clear the deadwood, restore the culture, bring back the Man United feeling. I felt like he has done that. I think our squad is the happiest it's ever been. It's a group of players I absolutely love for the first time. Yes, there are some deadwood left, but I felt like if he leaves this team, it's the best our team has ever been left for a long time since Fergie days. And I think that, if Poch comes in, there's something we haven't done as United, recent years since Fergie left, is make Champions League consistently. And I'm not saying that's the team we need to be now. Just finish fourth every season and be happy. Of course not. But for the next few seasons, play Champions League. Get Champions League. Why can't we start by getting Champions? Why must we finish fifth and then all of a sudden next season want to win the league?
I get you. But I feel like we also don't have conclusive proof that Ole did it this season. I mean, in his first season, he did make Champions League, And as I said, I think this club has had problems for a very long time. And there's questions over the players as well. And yes, I understand all the problems. But I feel like we, as Manchester United fans, can be very reactionary. I honestly do believe that. And where I am, I feel like for what he's done, there's a lot he hasn't done. We don't have a clear vision. We don't have a philosophy. That's a big problem. But for me, for what he's done for this club, I think he deserves a little bit more time. That's where I'm at.
He's going on 3 years, though. That's the thing. He's going on 3 years. Is that not enough time to make something happen? Is that too short of a period?
It's up to 5 years, though. A project takes a very long time. It's not. It might not look as attractive as Klopp's did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Liverpool winning the league. We had no intention of winning the league with Oli. We beat PSG, and we were like, "This is the man." That's all
but
it was.
Then you can't say it was very clear that Klopp is going to win the league three seasons in or 2 seasons in. You can't say that.
You said his goal within 5 years after arriving in the Premier League was, "I want to win the Premier League within 5 years." With this club.
Fair. But with Ole being a legend of Manchester United, do you really think he doesn't want to do that? It might not look as attractive.
But that's not the thing, though. Like I said, Oli, we love Oli. We all love Oli. But is he good enough to do it? When Jurgen Klopp went to Liverpool, I said at that time, that is a good manager. I would have loved him at Manchester United because I knew if there was a manager who could win a Premier League or a Champions League, it's probably Jurgen Klopp. It's probably a manager like Pep Guardiola. Heck, you can say Poch hasn't won a trophy in his life, but he is the type of manager I believe that can win a Premier League.
I get you.
If he's backed, which won't happen, but if he's backed, I back him.
I get you, but I feel like results trumped the little nuances we can call tactics. Yes, we have to look at tactics, but overall, his results he made third. He made a lot of semi-finals. I think that is good enough to get you more time, in my opinion. And I feel like, yes, we do see the problems in terms of consistency.
Oli won't get sacked right at the moment. He's not going to sack. Okay, if he loses to West Brom, they might pull the trigger. I won't lie. If you lose to West Brom, I'm like, you're a joke, man, aren't you? If you can't, you just can't lose to West Brom. So, there is ways Oli can get sacked immediately if he does some madness and just loses, like I said, to West Brom or something like that. But I do believe Oli will carry on winning games. But that's not the reason I'm Oli out. I said it. That's not the reason. I'm Oli out because I know he can win 4 games. I know he can win 14 games. But then come that next few games, we are in a hole. And we again, stagnating. And my problem is not. I think Oli can't progress anymore. I think he's hit his ceiling at United. I don't think he can progress anymore. I think, and sometimes you got to think is stagnating and not changing anything actually better than just not decreasing performance, because I don't want to stagnate. I don't want to stagnate. That's the last thing I want us to do.
I get you. Okay, do you guys think this team is good enough to win the league?
Those one.
Yes.
Oli's team. This one here he's picking.
No, in general, the team that.
Yes. I
Yes.
do.
You think it's good enough to win the league? I don't know about.
I think.
I don't know.
I think.
Oli
But
got
I'm being a bit reactionary. I don't think. There is big problems. We don't have a fucking right winger. We don't have a centre back. We don't have a centre.
Yeah, we have to
No, I refrain from that. This team is not good enough.
beat all the top 6 clubs last season. That alone should be good enough to set our standard above the rest.
It's easy to
We
look
cannot
at.
beat. Cannot
Fair play. We beat all the big teams last season in the Premier League. If you literally did your job and beat the small teams, you could have won.
We beat those teams playing a style that protects our centre backs, but we can't do that against the small teams. So at the end of the day, I don't think this team is good enough. And Ole might seem like he's not the most tactically inclined. He might seem like he'll limp to the top 4. But if he does end up making top 4 this season, what's really the problem? I feel like the jury is not completely out. So that's why I'm arguing
That's where I stand.
Fair, but it's 3 seasons in. He's 3 seasons in. If you're making top 4 and you don't look perfect, after 5 seasons, you could have the players you want, and he could be playing this a more progressive style. So the whole point I'm trying to make is that the jury is not out, in my opinion.
My opinion is the jury is out. I mean, if you say Jimmy Maguire and Lindelof can't beat West Brom or the lower league teams, I mean, what's the point? You're telling me an £80 million centre back can't defend West Brom by himself? We must protect him because of West Brom. Nah. Exactly. I understand City. I understand the Liverpool's protection.
I get you.
But we're getting smacked up. We're making small teams look like they're prime Barcelona against us, because we just don't have the tactics and coaching to freaking beat a low block. And that's not even worth these players. These players are not involved in beating a low block. It's these, man. No, you're telling me Martial, Rashford, Bruno, and Greenwood aren't good enough to beat a low block.
I get you. But at the end of the day, is the result not what's most important? So what are we expecting Poch to come and do when he gets?
That's what I said though. But that's your opinion. You stood by it when Oli got 3rd last season, right? You said that's great. We all happy. I said he achieved his objective, but I was still skeptical. I said we did achieve our goal, but we did it by the scrape of our teeth and our lowest points tally ever. And why should United be like, that was just a season, if you play whatever's in front of? Why are we United, guys? We are supposed to be getting more than 66 points a season.
That's a fair argument. That's a fair argument. I can.
This season is wide open. If we had a consistent manager and a consistent team with tactics, we could be in a title race. As crazy as this season is.
I'd rather take struggling for 12 games a season than struggling for 26 games a season. That's the thing. I'd rather make sure we beat Newcastle week in, week out, Burnley week in, week out, Crystal Palace week in, week out, Brighton week in, week out, than being City, Liverpool, Chelsea.
At the end of the day, even if Pochettino does beat those teams, I think all he's going to do is make top 4 with this team. That's the point I'm trying to make. It might not look as attractive, but at the end of the day, he'll be achieving the same thing.
Okay, do you think Oli can win the Premier League if he gets backed? I don't.
I think it's possible. I think it's possible.
You buy in this team, you can put Ndidi in that team, and you put Jadon Sancho in that team. I don't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to win the
I think he's a different type of playing style. He's not into the exact tactics, like let's say a Pep or a Klopp or a Pochettino, but that's not the only type of manager that exists. There are different type of managers. Yes, I do criticize him for not trying to get a balance, and I have criticized his tactics. But by saying that, I'm not saying his tactics are horrible. I think there is something there, and I think that there is a scenario where he gets better players, and we see more from this team.
But that's also unrealistic, because the thing is, we won't probably get better players. We always scream. We were supposed to have Jadon Sancho. We were supposed to have Erling Haaland. We were supposed to have Jude Bellingham. We were supposed to have a Koulibaly, but we didn't get. We're supposed to have Jack Grealish in this team as well.
Okay, fair. But if you're going to look at it like that, what's the pinnacle? Top 4. He's getting
under sport. Oh, but is he going to get top 4 this season? The jury's not out on that yet, but it's looking quite unlikely.
7 games though. That's my problem. I feel like we're acting way too quickly. I feel like we're acting way too quickly. That's my problem. But I hear you guys' arguments, and as I said, I'm unsure about this.
And you know what? Ollie, you know, prove me wrong. Go on a mad run. Because you have to do something you've never done before, my boy. After 14 games, you can win 14 games in a row. The next few 14 games, I'm still Ollie out because I know you. You do that. You do. I'm only going to social. I go on a run, and then I go into another run. It's shit run. That's what you do. You're in an absolute shit run where it's downhill, down. And I don't want that because I know you. Unless you go win the rest of the season, my friend. That's what you have to do. You have to go and get the good results for the rest of the season. Because once the top Poch is there, and that's now the pressure's on. Now the pressure's on. You make one. I dare Ollie to lose somehow to West Brom. Let's just say, in theory, Ollie lost to West Brom. I mean, there is no excuse. Absolutely no excuse. I don't care if it's a referee decision or anything else. You can't lose to West Brom. And again, we never. The other problem is that Ollie's team, we always say we don't create enough chances, even when we don't deserve to win. We just don't. It's always something ridiculous. A Bruno madness, a Martial madness, Rashford madness. And it's never just okay. To fair play. Recently, we have scored from 2 crosses, but it's never just a cross attacking, or just a simple or intricate 1, 2, 3 in the net. It's in my head. It's always like it's down to a player. If you go look at our match reactions, possibly, and we're always rating the players, there's always one player that gets an insane amount, and we're like, he won us the game today.
I get you, and that's why I'm not only in. I'm only unsure because I feel like when you look at it from a tactical point of view and ignore everything else, it does seem like he's not getting the best out of these players. But I feel like you can't just do that. You have to consider everything. And when I consider how he made so many semi-finals last season, and I consider he finished 3rd, I feel like in that instance he deserves more time and not just 7 games.
I mean, it's always down to opinion, but for me, the jury's out. I think Ollie will sack himself. You carry on picking this team, it won't get the results. You can get the results over the line on certain days, but it's just not consistent. This team is not consistent enough. And the way he sets up is not consistent enough.
If you ask me personally what I would like, at the moment I'm putting results over what I would like. When you ask me personally what I would like, I'd like a more recognizable identity. I'd like a more expansive playing style. So,
I mean...
Yeah, but again, if you're sitting back, but you're grinding out results every now and then failing against smaller teams every now and then, because you're just parking the bus all the time, then just get Jose back in. That's the thing. Why would you switch it up?
Yeah, if you want to grind results out, we should have just kept Jose. And I wasn't really Jose out at the time, because I knew that's what he did. He just shithoused his way to victories in it. That was Jose Mourinho. Both the career out.
Fair point. But I just feel like if after 38 games, this guy's made top 4 and he was grinding out results, I'm going to say, okay, give him the players and let's see what he does after 5 years. Let's see what he does after the amount of time. But Poch is not going to get them either. So I feel like you can't use this argument
for Poch.
Who
will get better results with the players we have?
But
Poch also... you know what it is with Ollie? I don't feel like Ollie's ever going to just get top 4 comfortably. I said that was the goal this season. Get top 4, no worries. There's already stress and worry. You're not even in the top half of the table.
But
and we haven't really played the big teams. We played the shit teams, and we fucking lost.
No. Fair. I get the point, and it does look bleak in terms of our top 4 chase.
Like I said, you know what, Ollie, you're either going to do something ridiculous we haven't seen before, and you're going to change our opinion, or you're going to do what I think you're going to do, grind out certain results, but then still lose, and eventually it's the long goodbye, sacked anyways during Christmas. That's just what I think. But yeah, I think that we all know about Ollie. I didn't want to spend this long talking about Ollie because we all know this was supposed to be more about what Poch will bring to Manchester United, as he's the most likely to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer if it does get. I'm not saying this is not an Ollie out show. This is just an information show for you guys to make your own opinion up. Don't be Ollie out because I'm Ollie out. No. Don't be like, oh no, I watch Sean, he's a YouTuber, he watches United all the time, he's Ollie out, so I must be out. No. You make your own opinion up. I'm doing this, so you make your own opinion up. Just like Malota said, if you believe what Malota's saying, then you're Ollie unsure, or you're Ollie in, then you're back.
I feel like it's only fair that we give them both a fair argument.
Yeah. I will try to be fair. But viewer discretion is advised. I love Poch. So it'll be a lot because the second half is going to be bit of a mess. I loved him at Spurs, and I still do love Poch.
I also love Poch.
Even Clayton loves Poch. Yeah, it's fitting that he's got
All love
Spurs and
Poch.
United jersey. Yeah, so let's talk about Poch. I've rubbed out some names. As you can see, there is no Greenwood, there is no Scott McTominay, and there is no Luke Shaw. Because I do believe that if Pochettino comes in, and the style of the way Pochettino likes playing, I do believe you would prefer Donny instead of Greenwood. I do think you will prefer a Paul Pogba because he's very similar to Ndombele. And Ndombele, when he played under Pochettino in a 4-2-3-1, he did play in almost a defensive role. Now, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we know these two, Fred and Pogba or McTominay, Matic, they're very defensive. But under Poch, it's like those two CDMs, they are defensive, but boy, they are creative. When in transition and on the ball, when they're attacking, they are very creative. The way from here onwards work is ridiculous. And that's why I feel like also a big thing about Pochettino is his fullbacks. And we did obviously play with Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's development was crucial under Pochettino, so I'm sure he'll love him. But a player like Telles I think Pochettino would love way more. Now, I think this would be Pochettino's 4-2-3-1. Do you gentlemen agree?
Yeah, no, I have no arguments with this, honestly. I think this.
I'm looking at this team now. I'm thinking you somehow keep this team fit, and running on all cylinders. This team. Oh no, wait, I didn't understand.
I think match will have a shout.
I think he will play Maguire and Lindelof, but for some reason, because Pochettino also likes ball-playing centre-backs, Maguire kind of is like that, I think he would look to bring a centre-back. So for me, if you are... This is the problem with Pochettino now, though, right? He does love attacking full-backs as well. My problem is with Pochettino coming on this team, it's a whole new rebuild. Again, it's a start over again. So it's the same problem that Ole has, the centre-backs. You will need another centre-back, probably. You need a ball-playing centre-back. And he probably, as much as we all love Wan-Bissaka, he probably will play Wan-Bissaka. It's probably not ideal for Pochettino. But again, because, people say Aaron Wan-Bissaka isn't a good attacking fullback. But you say that, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, exactly. I'm thinking to myself, when he was at Crystal Palace, this man was, he was creating assists. He got a lot more assists at Crystal Palace. He was scoring goals. He was an attacking fullback at Crystal Palace. He was a winger. Aaron Wan-Bissaka was a winger. So I think Pochettino, it might not be it might not be ideal for Pochettino, for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but if there ever was a person who could coach Aaron Wan-Bissaka into it, it's probably Pochettino. And we've seen it. Like I said, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, go look at him when he was at Palace before he came to United. A different fullback. Completely different fullback. I had him in my fantasy team. That's how I know also. I'm like, this man got me freaking assists every week. So it is what it is. So Aaron Wan-Bissaka might be a whole. I do think the biggest problem, though, is one of his centre-backs, definitely. But other than that, I think he might want maybe a winger or 10. But other than that, I think this would be Pochettino's 4-2-3-1. David De Gea, Alex Telles, because he's more attacking than Luke Shaw, Maguire, Lindelof, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Fred, Pogba, Rashford, Bruno, Donny van de Beek, and Anthony Martial. Now, if Ole played this team and he got it right, I would be smiling every week. Because who's missing from this team, really? Greenwood? I think only your person. In terms of sheer quality, Greenwood is the only person missing.
Yeah, I just feel like Ole just don't know how to set it up like Pochettino does, because it looks defensive there, but it's not when Pochettino plays it. It's not. Like, this guy is a project manager, and that's what I like about him, and why I think he'd be a fit for this club, because he'll come in and change the culture of the club in terms of football sense. I forgot the stat exactly, but I know Spurs, they weren't really making top four. It was once every few years. When he got there, they were making top four consistently. So in that itself just shows the type of manager he is. And I've got this little stat just to show the change that he brings to the club. And I think Clayton touched on it. Before he came to Spurs, in terms of distance of kilometers covered, it was 106.9 kilometers, and they were 20th. They were the last in the league. And in his first season, they were around one of the first few. I think 115.7 kilometers. And to add on that, at Southampton, he had, since his stint at Southampton till now, no one has ran more kilometers than his Southampton team.
Yeah.
So that just shows.
In brackets, Pochettino's team is a high pressing, hard working team.
Yeah.
You can the fitness levels will have to increase drastically.
Yeah.
Drastically.
And he's shown he can do it effectively. So his system is impeccable. And yes, it is a 4-2-3-1, but for my research, it alternates between that and a 3-4
yeah,
3-4-2-1
as well. Yeah. So it's almost like if Pogba goes into this position here, and then the fullbacks will obviously be back. So the fullbacks will go up. Fullbacks go up, and then Fred, which is not ideal, will become third centre back.
Yeah. And in terms of ball playing, he has the ability. So I don't know. I do feel like at the same time, Ole, as much as we have Victor Lindelof and Maguire, I do feel like he's not getting the best out of them because he doesn't have an effective setup at the back there. And I think Poch could do that. So, but at the same time, we have to recognize that Poch had Alderweireld and Vertonghen, which are two quality centre backs when he was there. They were both starting at Belgium, so that has to be a factor. But I think with that team there, sorry,
our centre backs starting in their national teams.
Okay, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. But that no way is good as Vertonghen.
He freaking captained England yesterday. He scored a goal, kept a clean sheet. He's feeling himself on Twitter.
What is it about Maguire that makes Southgate and Ole think he has leadership qualities? But anyway, and from my research, I realized that he does play with very, very high fullbacks. And if I remember back into the whole high press,
the fullbacks might be a bit iffy, but yeah.
So the whole high press thing, there's this idea that Pep Guardiola and Klopp brought that style to the Premier League. That's false. That is a lie. The person who really revolutionized that style in the Premier League was Pochettino. And I remember back in Pep's first season, Man City was actually going on a good run before it all came crumbling down. They finished fourth. I think 10 games unbeaten in the Champions League and in the league. They went to White Hart Lane and Spurs ran them out the park. They could not keep up with Spurs. So he's the one who came with that style. And I think his system is just impeccable. The interplay, he does play with three narrow strikers or so. And with the width coming from the fullbacks. And the interplay is at another level because it's drilled at training game in, game out. So, yeah, if you're looking for a football identity, if you're looking for a system ball screen, we are Manchester United. This is the man to go with, really.
It is. And, let's start off. There's many things to speak about these two managers, right? The first thing I've written down on my notes is that let's talk about the youth development, right? Ole claimed when he first came to the club that he wants to use youth players. We have seen very little, if not any, bar Mason Greenwood and Brandon Williams. But Pochettino, however, is a youth man. Because I didn't want to bring it up when Moloto was talking about it, but Moloto was talking about the players that has improved under Ole. Right now, I give in my head. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. State your opinion, but in my head, you're asking for two players that have improved under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It is one, Anthony Martial, and two, Mason Greenwood. I don't think anyone else has. No,
Rashford?
I think Rashford was better, and he could have been better under Louis van Gaal.
I don't know.
I
think the stats speak for themselves. The stats. I think Martial was better than Rashford under Louis van Gaal.
After season, though, that's the thing. Rashford
started the numbers, The Rashford, consistent now. So, there is some credit what to do, but how much of a player Rashford has developed under Ole, I don't know. I think he's become more matured, which you do become as you get older. But is it really that much of an improvement? Because I'm still ripping my hair out some weeks ago.
Ole has made him more of a talisman. He's not perfect. You can look at Sterling as well. You can compare him to Sterling. Sterling's not perfect. In the big games, you'll miss the sitters. But Pep has made him more of a talisman, a person who gets goals for the club consistently. And I think that's what Ole has done for Rashford, honestly.
Okay, so we'll add Rashford. I think Rashford's fair. I'll give you Rashford. But is there anyone really other than those three?
Not really. Fred, you can
what's the common denominator of those three? They are all strikers.
They're all young.
Ole was
very
a
good
striker.
Potential. With
Ole was a striker. So I expect that from Ole.
Super striking coach.
Let's talk about Pochettino's.
Get that out of them. I'm sorry. That's all I have to say. They could have grown any manager. Any attacking manager would have gotten the best out of them that season.
Fair.
That's
fair, but you can't take
I think that's a bit unfair to Ole.
Yeah, you can't take away from Ole. He's the one who did
I mean,
it.
He did it. He
At the
did
end of
it.
the
Yeah.
day.
At the end of the day, he did it. So
Yes,
props
he's
to
the one
him.
that taught
But
Rashford how to a hat trick against RB Leipzig in the Champions League.
The thing is though, that's unfair because I feel like if Poch had done that, you might have been saying it's Poch. I feel like you might be letting him.
100%. If Poch was the guy to that, people would be saying Poch is a genius.
Yeah, I feel that's unfair. I mean,
yeah.
Ole,
We can only do what we dealt with, right? We know, right? In fact, Oli has improved Marshall. He has improved the Greenwood. He has improved the Rashford. That's three youth players. Great. Let's talk about Pochettino's youth run. Because Luke Shaw thrived under Pochettino. He was the main reason we bought him. I remember when we bought Luke Shaw from Southampton, I was gassed. Because I thought we had one of the best left backs in the league. Luke Shaw was one of the best left backs in the league, and he was young. He was very young. Obviously, he's very injury prone and things like that. So, but that is one player. He didn't coach Mane and Van Dijk for long, but they were both players who, were under Pochettino. And look where they are now.
They came through.
I think it's a bit unfair. That's why I put stars by Van Dijk and Mane, because I think it is a bit unfair to give Pochettino the credit for those ones. I think Jurgen did get the best out of them. And like I said, Pochettino left Southampton when Mane and Van Dijk started, coming into the team. So those two are iffy. But a player that you, Mr. Moloto, absolutely loved, heart and heart. Harry Kane was the Pochettino man. Son was the Pochettino man. Dele Alli was a Pochettino man. Obviously now under Mourinho. But Dele Alli under Pochettino was ridiculous.
Not always though. Let's be fair. Not always. To watch Potter's stand, he was pretty crap. But I do give you Son and Kane definitely.
So that's a lot more than what Oli has done. Is there
and to be fair to Pochettino, yes, we have improved Rashford and Martial, and there's still time for them to get even better. But Pochettino has made Son and Kane more class.
Yeah, that's a good comparison, right? We said Oli improved Rashford and Martial, and we said Pochettino improved Son and Harry Kane. Now, if you look at those two and you ask which two do you want in your team, both of them.
Definitely.
I'll take Martial still personally, but I'm 100% taking Son over Rashford. But some people probably take both over Martial and Rashford.
Obviously, there's the argument that Martial and Rashford are younger, and Poch had Son and Kane for longer, but you can't deny that he's made them world-class players.
Yeah, definitely. I think, is there anyone else you're forgetting with regards to the youth team? I don't think I am. There were lots of players.
You can say he made Ben Davis. Davis was amazing.
But, we're talking about the proper, the shine-out stars, Not like the guys who are okay, but like top level.
Yeah,
like Harry Kane would probably walk into any team.
Yeah. The point is from
Eriksen.
Harry Kane started coming up at 23 or something. He actually started playing first team, was it? When he, after his season at Norwich, was it 23 or 24? I can't remember, something like that. That's the only time he came up. He wasn't exactly a youth, if you want to put it that way. But like bringing up actual youths like Palestri and Traore, or who we're going to be looking at United right now, he's going to give them chances.
That's
like Harry Winks' hard work, and he earned his starting spot. He was nobody when Poch arrived, and now he's basically on and off staple at Spurs. Even under Mourinho, he still plays.
Yeah.
So it's hard to look past stuff like that as well. Serge Aurier, he really turned into basically a right winger in a system. Ben Davies is basically a left winger. He had his best season under Poch. Poch knows how to get the best out of wing backs. He knows how to get the best out of his players in general. Poch really knows how to drill a system into a player and get the best out of them. And that's one amazing thing about Poch.
Yeah, we'll speak about it more in depth, I think, later on when we bring it up. But another thing I want to say about Pochettino, right? These were like the things on the side of my head that I was just thinking about, things that, about Pochettino that I like. Number one was the standout. My first bullet point on my notepad was, who was Pochettino's coach? Who was his leader? Who was his teacher? And who was his teacher? Marcelo Bielsa. You know what else Marcelo Bielsa taught? Pep Guardiola. Now, if anyone doesn't know me, Marcelo Bielsa is a manager for Leeds currently. In my opinion, he is a phenomenal manager. Honestly, he could be an absolute master tactician. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a defense at all to save his life. But the coaching and the way his team is drilled is the best in the league. They always know exactly what they're doing. It's like they're robots. They are freaking machines when it comes to drill in 4-1-4-1, 4-2-3-1, back five. Whatever it comes to, Marcelo Bielsa drills it in. Pochettino was heavily influenced by Marcelo Bielsa. You know, he was brought up, you know, he was a player. Pochettino was a player under Bielsa as a manager. So there's a very big relationship with Bielsa. So if you're a Bielsa fan like me, it's a bonus. It's just a bonus. And you can see it. The way Pochettino sets up his teams, the way that, you know,
just from the style.
Just the way their style of play, it's very much like Bielsa, like the high press, hardworking. Same like Pep, high press, hardworking. They might keep the ball a lot, but they're very hardworking. And it's like, you know, and I think the end goal of Pochettino is that he suffered from burnout. We see it with Pep now as well. They did suffer from burnout. You know, you can only go so long as a manager, you know, until the project becomes just too much, and you know, you don't get a Ferguson, you don't get a Wenger anymore. You just stay there no matter what, get the backing, you get results anyway. So
I feel like there's a strong argument to say that Pochettino is more tactical than Pep, and I know people will go crazy considering what Pep has done, but Pep needs a specific type of player to make his style work, and his style is very, very cute. I feel like Poch is a bit more rugged, and did he really have the players, I suppose, to play the style he was playing? Not when he got there.
And no, that's what I said. I'm like, you know, people can make fun of Pochettino's Champions League run all they want, you know, with the luck and stuff. But if you ask me that season, if you ask me, can that Spurs team win Champions League, I would have laughed. I'm like, no ways, they're not good enough to do that. Yeah. They are nowhere near good enough to make a Champions League final. They know it. I would say they would scrape fourth, but they didn't even scrape fourth. They've got thirds, they got seconds, you know. So, with regards to Poch tactics and the way his teams are drilled, it might take a while, and you won't see it immediately. Like, let's just say Poch had to come tomorrow. You won't see it immediately. So I know if you did have to come, people will lose their minds. All sexuals will lose their minds if he doesn't get results. Don't see amazing football. It's another rebuild, which is the big downfall. I'll get to the end of it, which is OLE versus Poch, pros and cons. But like, just to stick on point, right? So this is what I said. You guys can mention anything else if I missed out. But I said he was influenced by Bielsa. He's just a bonus for me. Yeah. Pochettino worked on a low budget throughout his whole life from Southampton and Tottenham. And just remember that also Tottenham, when Pochettino was there, he had to take into factor that they had to build a new stadium. He said it on Sky Sports. He said, when he was asked, how do you feel about not getting back as much as certain managers, he said, you know, obviously I would have liked it, but you must understand also for the fans, you know, what the club want when you come as a manager. That at that time they wanted a new stadium. They deserved a new stadium. So I had to work with what I had, and I understood that the owners and board, that was the priority, to get the new stadium within 5 years. So I did that with the budget I had. So he was very good at that. Yeah. That's my second point about Pochettino. So, you know, he didn't have a big budget. He could have, and would have seen probably, who knows, you could have won Champions League if he got more back than he was at building a new stadium. Right, so that's the second point. The third point, it's a very interesting point. I wrote down a rival fear factor. And that's the fear factor I'm talking about, is rival fans. It seems a bit ironic how every single rival fan of Manchester United do not want Pochettino to manage Manchester United. One, it's because they honestly think Ole's a clown and they love what Ole's doing to this club, you know, running us down or whatever, being inconsistent. And two is that they actually all highly rate Pochettino. They don't want a manager of quality like Pochettino to go to your rival. Why would you? Like, Pochettino went now, let's just say he got the City job. All of a sudden, Poch can win a trophy. All of a sudden, Poch can win a league. And then we're going to be sitting there with Economic fights and they're like, oh yeah, remember when you guys said, I don't want Poch because he's never won a trophy. Well, if he gets a City job, who's to say he won't win a trophy? Yeah. And that's just because he gets a proper backing. So that's what I have there. Rival fear factor point. Rival fans, absolutely. I know. Trust me, I know. All my friends are like, I hope you don't get Poch. You go watch the Sky Sport interviews. Everyone's there. Don't go to United. Don't go to United. Don't go to United. Because they're scared. They're scared that, you know, Pochettino could turn this Man United team with these players into the team that is meant to be on paper. On paper, this team looks ridiculous. And it is supposed to be ridiculous. So that's another point. Spurs made Champions League only twice before Pochettino came in. I wrote that down. That was my other point. They've made Champions League only twice before Mauricio Pochettino came in. As soon as he came in, Poch got Champions League football consistently, right? Which is my next. And my next point is obviously, I'll leave that point. But the next point, these are the stats. Pochettino in the 14-15 season, right? He had a net spend of £4 million, and he finished fifth in the league. Fifth. 15-16 season, minus 17 million net spend, he finished third. The next season, 30 million net spend, he finished second. 20 net million net spend next season, finished third. Then minus 5 million again, he finished fourth. and eventually he just got the sack. Fifth is lowest, and then third, second, third, fourth, with a net spend of basically nothing. Glazer's dream. As much as we don't like it, Glazer's dream. And what was our net spend? Our net spend is usually 50, so
you can say it fits our problems.
It fits. It solves the Glazers problem. Fans are happy because we're getting Champions League more consistently. And then, like I said, obviously that isn't our standard. We need to win Premier Leagues. We need to win Champions Leagues. I do believe Poch can do it. And I think, eventually if Poch does get Champions League consistently, which on paper he does do that, I think the fans will be eventually like, okay, now Glazers, Poch has done his job. We can't blame him. Back him now. And that, again, the blame will just go back. Now, and then we know if Poch gets left out to dry, we definitely know. And Poch won't be shy to say it's the Glazers' fault. I mean, I could have won this.
Yeah, I don't know. We're United fans, but I hear your point, though.
But yeah, those are just my points in general about Pochettino. The other point is, it's more tactically, which we'll get on, is that how this 4-2-3-1, which like Molosa says, can switch into a 3-4-2-1. But we know, like I said, Fred drops into centre-back in position. Oh, let me just write that actually. So we know Fred, he can become the third centre-back. Not ideal. Let's be honest. Let's not be biased just because it's Poch doing it. If we've seen Maguire, Fred, and Lindelof.
That's the thing. He'll play a sweeper role. He'll play
I still don't back. I think if we have to get hit on the break, and that was our backline only, curtains. There's problems. There's still problems.
Fred's not to recover, though. Fred give us recovery pace.
Yeah.
It helps.
I feel like in terms of being in that back line, it would suit Matic more, but then Matic is not as tenacious as Fred, so you'd be losing another element. So, yeah. I just wonder what he'd do.
Yeah.
Maybe consider Matic.
Yeah, I think he would. That's what I'm thinking. He could consider Matic. Everyone, Basaka and tell us, best believe if Poch comes, they're doing this run. My arrows up, they're doing that 24/7. 24/7, they're going for this.
Another big thing with Poch, he's not afraid to play a centre-back in the CDM role, that makeshift CDM role to convert to the 3-back. That's what Eric Dyer played for years. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Lindelof or a Bailly push further up the field, play that kind of somewhat deep midfield role, but also playing as that sweeper when coming back. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that, because Fred can definitely do that job. I just don't think he has the stature to do it. That's probably the only issue with Fred, particularly. He doesn't have the height whatsoever for that. But otherwise, I think Fred has everything going for him. Provide cover.
Yeah, I think Fred could do it. And I feel like if there was a player who could coach it like that, it would be, again, Pochettino. He's got a history of doing this. Another player who I think will thrive under Mauricio Pochettino is my boy, Paul Pogba. We know that his career is probably done and dusted under United. But in the system that Poch plays and the way he likes doing it, Pogba won't be the guy who is told to defend. On attack, he will be told to do this role. To drop into this midfield with Rashford, the likes of Bruno, Donny van de Beek, and the fullbacks, and look to create something. He will be exactly like an Ndombele role that he was at Tottenham.
True, but
I think we need to say, if Pogba's not fit, he's not going to play. We're not going to see Pogba half fit, half recovered from COVID.
You won't see this. Jogba, if you like to call it. People call him Jogba because he jogs a lot. You won't see that. Trust me, if Poch comes, either Pogba is going to be bursting down, up, down, or he's not going to play. That's just like this. He's just not going to play. Which is not a problem, because worst case, you can then bring in Greenwood, and then again, we put Donny in that role. Poch won't probably come. Yes.
I think Poch might not want a player who has a more balanced defensively and offensively in that position, because from what I noticed doing research, sometimes he likes, one of his CDMs dropping in, but the other protecting the fullbacks and dropping to the side. And I don't know if Pogba will be able to play a role like that. And while he does that, a player like Bruno or who was Eriksen would go in between the lines, and he will be the main.
But the thing is, I think Bruno does that a lot, anyways, under OLE as well. I think
he'll be the main.
If you look at
transition.
If we look at it, like if Poch had to inherit this team, right? So let's just say this is Pochettino's team. I think he will absolutely love Telles. No problems. Absolutely love Telles. You will love David there. You compare David today to Luis, probably nothing. On his day, Daya is way better. Telles, who is the left back at Tottenham? I forgot.
Ben Davies.
Yes.
It's not even a comparison. So Telles definitely way better. I think you would love Telles. Maguire compared to Maguire and Lindelof compared to the Tottenham centre backs, there is definitely a debate, because I still think this is sus. If it was up to me, I think Poch will still play these two. I wouldn't play them. I'm done with this
Clayton,
one.
Centre
just
backs
Clayton agree. I
themselves.
don't think it's used.
That's the thing. The centre
What?
backs themselves do fit that role. We do have that ball playing mentality. We do
Well,
know how
why
to
is
pass
it
the ball. We
like
do
that, yeah.
dribble with the ball.
Weirdly
Yeah,
enough,
both do that. But they're not that good defensively. That's the issue with them. They're good for the system that Poch wants to play with the expansive football, but they suck defensively
That's
nonetheless.
interesting. That's interesting. Where is the weakness?
it's a ball playing. It's the
Yeah.
ball playing, you know. Maguire came with that
No, he
record.
came with it. That's what it is. Yeah,
can't,
he was a ball playing centre back.
I haven't seen
Where
it yet.
it's gone
what
now.
I think it is?
It's
You know what I think it
ridiculous.
is? You know what I think?
Okay,
I think under Bruno Rodgers, there was a specific pattern on how to receive and release the ball. We don't have that at United. Maguire gets the ball and he's throwing his hands in the air because he doesn't know where to pass the ball. So I think that's a big factor.
admittedly, we only criticize Maguire when he plays those long balls. If you tell him just play the short ball to Pogba, let him run with it, you're gonna see a lot different.
Van Dijk is told to do it. He can do it very well. He's not Van Dijk. Will never be Van Dijk. Please,
And the thing is,
if you have the ball, Maguire, Fred. You know what it is. Look at this. Right? I'm going to remove the errors. I'm going to remove the errors because Maguire, he goes for this ball here, all the way to Donny, all the way to Tony. Guys. No. Please don't embarrass yourself.
It's still managed.
You know, the thing, and you know, if you have a player like Pogba in the system, if you play this ball straight to Pogba, if there ever is a guy who can now hit it long, it's for Pogba. You will put it on someone's foot from distance. That's where Pogba thrives. So I don't know why Maguire just doesn't do this often enough. The midfield is right in front of him and then release.
It's silly for management, honestly.
Yeah.
They need to think, which they are right in thinking that we have players, so long balls will be effective. But it's not that effective. Maybe Maguire's not good enough at doing it. I think there's something there, as I've said before, and I think maybe they need to work on it more. But so far, it hasn't been brilliant enough. And into the short passes, he has to keep it simple. But at the same time as well, I feel like we need to work on our off-ball movement as well. Because it's hard to make simple passes if your off-ball movement isn't that great.
Yeah. And that's I'll touch on it because I was just finishing with regards to Poch, what he had to do this team. So the centre back, you know, it could be iffy for Poch. It's iffy for any manager that comes in. I don't care what. You could be Jurgen Klopp, Sir Alex Ferguson. If you come in and this is centre back, it's child. Yeah, it's child. All right, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is not his ideal. Like I said, it's not an Alex Telles, but it's a myth that Aaron Wan-Bissaka can't be an attacking fullback. Because if you look at him at Crystal Palace, he was a winger. It's just the first time we've ever seen his tackling was at United. That's the first time I could ever say like this guy's a solid defensive right back. So I think Poch could add that flair. So Wan-Bissaka also is if you want, but I think he will get the job done, and I think you'll see a way better attacking Aaron Wan-Bissaka under Poch than you will under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Because what I think with Ole is that he tells Aaron Wan-Bissaka to try be an attacking fullback, try putting the crosses. But again, he's not helped because instead of Donny here now, you have Mason Greenwood, who's a younger. He's not as well drilled as Donny van der Beek in this type of setup. You know, these guys, you know, it's like they've been at a low level football IQ education under Ole. And that their brains, there's no football IQ. I see this every week at United. There's no football IQ. When you bring in Pochettino, you'll start to see it. Even Donny. You see Donny he's just chucked into Ole's team and he looks amazing, instantly one of our best players. Because he's he came from a well-drilled system, well-coached, he can do it, he can basically play everywhere. So I think, we will start to see more smarter approaches, more off-the-ball movements. All of that. In general, just better play.
With Wan-Bissaka, if you look at Man City and Liverpool, Man City don't cross a lot. And when they get there, there's always an available man to pass the ball back in. And that's
almost like an out. It's like, you know what I don't like about our fullback is that they'll make this run, but then they're forced to put in the cross. I just want them to do the out. So, like, let's just say Tellers was here. And now there's a defender here. Tellers is just there to attract this defender. And as soon as he pushes here, he just pops it to Rashford simply. And then all of a sudden, because that defender went to Tellers, Rashford free.
Yeah. And if you drill that in training,
that's what I'm saying. I don't understand. I'm literally thinking on the board. How at Manchester United Football Club, you guys don't do this?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
And if you look at Liverpool, they don't do it like that, but then they're very specific about the areas they cross in, and it's very productive. What Wan-Bissaka does, I think he can put a cross in. He's decent at doing that. And
Yeah.
I think if he was asked to make a lot of interplay there, he could be decent there. The problem is when he has to go one-on-one. I don't think he can do that.
Yeah,
And
can't
he's
go.
now forced. He can't go inside. He can't face a man one-on-one and then beat
It's
them and
like-
go inside. He's always
like-
going outside.
Yeah, it's like if Wan-Bissaka has to put in the cross. Like I said, Tellez, you can beat the man. You can do that, just a cheeky little back to Rashford. But Wan-Bissaka, I think what will have to happen is that if the ball is in this area and Wan-Bissaka is here, Donny will have to do the hard work, which he can do. We've seen how Donny is. He's very tenacious. And what Donny has to do is attract him and basically be the reverse role, be the Tellez if you want. And Donny needs to just pass it quick to Wan-Bissaka to hit it first time into the box. Don't dribble anything. Simple, you hit it first time. What Tellez, he can think about it. He's that type of player. He is natural going forward. Wan-Bissaka, you mustn't do it. If you get the ball in this position, you need to cross it first time because you can't beat the man. You can't
Because what happens?
Or anything. You have to hit it first time.
Even
And that's what
play
he
it
did at
back to-
Palace.
It's right
I
behind you.
forgot
That's the thing
who's
as
the right winger for Palace. Is it Townsend?
Yeah, Townsend or
It's not
Zaha.
consistent. It's not consistent.
It's not consistent. But when Wan-Bissaka was at Palace, what happened? The winger got the ball. And Wan-Bissaka just made this run. Winger passed it through. Whip it in. Don't do anything else. Whip it in.
Yeah. And what
It
happens
doesn't
is
have
that
to be a Robo or a Trent. Beat the man and then whip it in.
yeah.
It's great if they can do that and they have a potential to do that. But you don't
have to.
you don't have to.
Like that.
You
One,
can work
two,
systems around
literally.
it.
Even Trent doesn't always
And
do
that's,
that.
and that's also the reason why I also say Aaron Wan-Bissaka doesn't look as good going forward. It's because he does have most of the time Mason Greenwood or Mata in front of him. You put someone like Donny in front of him, I think you'll see a lot better Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
The system will optimize the play. Like what happens is that yes, if we're on the counter and there's more space, his crosses seem effective. But if he's going the outside, now he's having to hit some perfect cross close to the goal line. That for any player is a difficult cross. So it's just not effective.
Yeah. Sad. Because it's just basics. Honestly. It's just I can't believe I'm doing it. It's literally just basics.
It is.
Yeah, so just to Poch's thing as well. He always likes to create overloads like Bielsa. What was the term again, Shuni?
Overlap.
Yeah. No. The term Bielsa used, the mathematical one. What is it?
Oh.
Shit. That one.
Super numerical. That's what it's called. Super numerical advantage.
He likes to try to do that as well. He likes to do that as well, especially on the right side. You're gonna have like 4 people in a close pocket of space where you can play the 1-2s, where you can try beat the defender. That's what Poch likes to do. So in that situation, say Aaron Wan-Bissaka's overlapping on the right with Donny, you're going to see Pogba pull inside, you're going to see Bruno pull inside, you're going to see Martial drop. You're going to see everybody kind of be compact and form those little passing triangles everywhere. And then we'll 1-2 our way through them. And we just don't see that with United. Because admittedly, we don't know how to do that.
Yeah. I think it'll be very effective in this team because people are very surprised at the moment with Kane dropping deep and like, oh, he's playing as a midfielder. But he really always did it under Pochettino. Like, you couldn't say there were set positions for those front players. They were all over the place. And I think with the players we have, in terms of the pivot in the midfield being Eriksen and that being Bruno, in terms of overlapping and Martial dropping deeper, I think that 2 players were perfect for that type of playing style.
Yeah, because we have Rashford and Greenwood cutting in from the right and left, and they are devastating strikers. We're basically forming a diamond, in all honesty. We're squeezing narrow, we're putting 2 in the front, and Martial basically drops down to a 10, while Bruno gets free roam while we're in possession. And we can literally just do whatever we're in the situation to do. And Martial's great dribbler. He can win those 1-on-1s. He can play those 1-2s. He can take that shot if need be. And we're just going to see a different United under Poch, in all honesty. And I think we're actually going to see a philosophy. We're going to see a drive. We're going to see a lot. And hopefully that also comes with getting those results against the smaller teams specifically. Because if they keep on finding us, that's not good enough for Manchester United.
Yeah. I think Martial's hold-up is going to be a plus for him in this team. Because I think Poch is going to use it, take advantage of it.
Because, this is what it is essentially when it's on transfer. Because Fred will have to drop down, so obviously he can't come. And then obviously Bruno also, he kind of has to drop down, but then Donny and Rashford come more inwards, because it is now 3-4-2-1 now. It is 3-4-2-1. And it's almost like It's like a Christmas tree. That's what it is. And where the width comes is literally, like we said, fullbacks
Look
are
at
the
all
most
those
key things. Literally, look at all the triangles. There is triangle here, triangle freaking there. Where else you want? You want triangle here, you want triangle there, you want triangle. There's triangles. There's triangles everywhere on this football field. There's triangles. And the most key thing is the fullbacks, like we said. That's where they bomb forward. And now all of a sudden, it's very interesting to see what Pochettino will do with this team, because this is obviously in transition. You'll know if this is how he lines up, obviously we're going to lose, because this isn't a team we just started. I'm just saying, in transition, when we have the ball and we are attacking, things like this come. Because then all of a sudden, Bruno can even drift into this triangle. Pogba can even drift here. Donny can overlap with Martial, Rashford can overlap with Martial. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we look at if we just picture this as a 4-2-3-1 again, the key points is that when Poch was at Spurs, he didn't have Martial. He did have, let's just say, this was Harry Kane. Now, Harry Kane compared to Martial. Harry Kane is a goal scorer. But I feel like people tend to forget that what Harry Kane actually did at Spurs, though, is that he almost was like what Martial's doing now, just with more goals. If this was Harry Kane, he did come in with Son. He did try to collect the ball, hit it to Son, so Son can make the run. Or the fullback can make the run. He did try to look for Eriksen to make a run, or Dele Alli. Would probably be Dele Alli.
Yeah.
So Harry Kane
And Eriksen
is similar to Martial. It's just he's a more proven goal scorer. He is a goal scorer because I think he's told on how to still be a striker. You know, it's like if you look at Firmino at Liverpool, it's not like Firmino is never in a striking position. He is. Firmino gets chances every single game. It's just he's shit. So that's the end of it. He is shit. But if you have Martial, now when we watch Martial under OLE, he does get goals and stuff. But where does Martial's goals come from? Freaking always, like, if Martial would be here and then he'll whip it in, or he's on this side, whip it. It's never.
And Kane was never that.
It's never exactly. It's never that Luke Shaw cross Martial header. That we haven't been seeing. So, exactly. So I think I don't know. Again, you know what? I feel like it is. I think it's Oli saying, look, try to do what Firmino does, collect the ball and things, but do what you're best at. And Martial in his head, he thinks I'm the best at finessing it top corners. That's what he probably thinks it is.
In this style, in terms of his hold-up, we're going to see him be very effective, possibly more effective than Kane, because that's what he does. He's positioned. But I feel like we will finally see how good he is as a finisher. Because I think at the same time, he will also be getting a lot of chance created because of the whole interplay and the movement. So, yeah, it will really show us what Martial is made of.
Exactly. And the other player who's similar to the guy again that Poch had. Poch had Son. But we have Rashford. Right? Now Rashford, I like to see, is almost identical as Son. He's literally just an unfinished product of Son. Yeah, I think he's fitter than Rashford. I think he's a little bit more intelligent. Like I said, Son is more of the finished article. Rashford is like a Son prodigy, So I do think if you compare Rashford to Son, if Poch had to come to the system, Poch could get the best out of it. I think Poch will tell him, explain to him, listen, Rashford, if you're in this situation, right? If you're in this situation, here's the goals, right? There's the goals. You have Tony here. Tony, you stay there, right? You came, you got the ball. So you came here, you got the ball. Then you passed it to Rashford. Now Rashford needs to do some hold up, right? Rashford holds up. Now if we are under OLE, what does Rashford do in this situation? Because he doesn't make this pass. He never makes that pass. I have never ever in my life seen Rashford make this pass. Ever.
Not that type of player.
Never in my life have I seen Rashford make that pass. What does Rashford do? Bang. That's what he does. The defender would be here. He's like, step in, and he has it. And then Martial will end up being here instead of in that position because he came to get the ball and he wasn't told to go back up. So it just comes down to coaching and tactics. I mean, why aren't you telling Rashford to do that? Why are you telling Rashford to do this, which is so much harder than just passing it into the box for Martial to tap it? What? Why?
It's down to tactics, and maybe all in our feeling maybe not feeling he's an outside winger, but he can still do that though, and still get a lot of goals,
But how often do you see Son and Kane link up for goals? I think they have the record. I don't have the actual number, but they have the record for the most goals together as a duo, Son and Harry Kane.
No, I think they're on a jet. I think they're going for it. I think they're
Or
close
they
to
go,
it.
is it right? It might be Cole and York that might still have them.
At this point in the season, 100%.
I think
But overall,
But yeah.
yeah.
Again, and yeah,
I
we
think-
have Greenwood. What does Greenwood love to do? Greenwood also, again, he loves. Okay, Greenwood is a bit different. He comes more inside. He does his step over. He comes more into the box and then he left foots it. And Greenwood, because he's so good at finishing, it works out because he's Mason Greenwood. His finishing is ridiculous. But again, why is Greenwood, whenever he's in this position, you can be told, fine, my boy, do your step overs to this line. Come to the byline right here. Then come in. And when you're in this position, don't shoot. Don't do the shot here. Don't do that shot. Martial will be right here. Boop. Tap it in. I beg. That's all I want in my life. That's all I want in my life is United to score tap-ins or crosses.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
We struggle to score goals from open play.
It's ridiculous.
100%.
And it's strictly down to that. If I'm not mistaken, I think Leroy Sané was very famous for that type of pass, and it was just down to Pep's coaching, really.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this is a low block, right? Let's say this is a low block. Our team can never beat this. Ever. Why? Because they always do this thing here. Let's say this is Rashford. Rashford will do this thing. You come here and then swing it. How often is the shot going to go in?
Exactly.
How often is that shot going to go in?
Yeah.
Right. So that's what Rashford does. Greenwood, he does the same. I'm not going to do it. He does the same on the opposite end. Martial, instead of being here, where's Martial? Also, Martial is either here or he's here. And what is he looking for also? He's looking for this. Why?
There's no striker, essentially.
It's like we don't have a striker, almost, yeah. But instead, to beat the low block, you have Bruno Fernandes, right? We have our midfielders. Let's say this is Martial. Let's say this is Rashford. Let's say this is Donny, Greenwood, whoever Poch decides to play. Bruno's obviously here. Pogba will be here. Oh, and because Pochettino likes his wing-backs. Right, now all of a sudden, this is looking juicy, guys. Because there are 5 at the back, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got almost 7 players up. 7 players up. You guys still can see this, right? It's not too far because the chair.
Yeah, we can see it.
So now there's multiple things that happen. Right? Like we said, if this was Rashford, you can literally just square to Tellers. Tellers then whips in a cross. A cross is a 50-50. It is. At the end of the day, it's a 50-50. I think it's the best way to score because it's so unpredictable and hard for defenders to read. And if you have a guy who's sort of natural, like I said, I wasn't the tallest guy at indoor, but if you put a cross towards my direction, best believe I'm winning it because I just can read it. I've got a knack. I think it's my gift.
If it's a good cross, just have a chance.
Like look at Liverpool. Liverpool don't have the tallest players in the world. They've got Salah, Mane, and Firmino. But
they have a system that can create the perfect situation.
But even, that's not even the problem. I just want to tell, even if we take out our wing backs, right? Let's say we don't play with our wing backs. Let's just say they defend. So now it's 4 against 5. I cannot stress enough. Can Rashford beat one defender? He can, right? Let's say Rashford beats this defender. Now he's gone. Rashford's gone. Rashford is now in this position. That defender is here. Rashford beat him. Look at this. The space is here. You can make this pass. Easy. And you can make that finish. It's the basics. Yeah.
Simple football.
Can Greenwood beat the man? Yes, he can. Greenwood's here now. The defender's gone. What's the easy pass? Wow.
Even
So
overlap behind.
So hard. That is
yeah.
so hard to make.
I feel like it's part of why we score so much we score so much on penalties because of this. We don't use our width, and we go so narrow that we have to make some extremely complicated, intricate play, and that's why we teams can see so many penalties against us. So, and if we want, we're relying on Bruno's cute passes to get through. Too reliant on him. So, yeah.
That was my next point, right? Because I haven't even brought Bruno or Pogba in. I've drawn them, but I haven't brought. What do we see from Bruno and Pogba most of the time now? Let's say this is the edge of the box. You best believe Bruno's shooting from it. Okay, agree for that. Okay, you best believe Pogba's going to try to lob it there. I don't know why, but he's going to try to lob it. That's not, guys. This is why we can't beat the low block. That's exactly why we can't beat the low block. Why can't Bruno make this run here? And now all of a sudden, it's a bit dangerous. Did I cut off?
Yeah.
Or am I...
No.
Why can't Bruno just make this run and then give them more problems? And then all of a sudden it's like 4 and 5, and then you can do something, a little cheeky thing or something. You can. And then, like I said, with Pochettino, you'll still have your wing backs. So we have that super numerical numbers game, as Bielsa calls it. We have the numbers in forward, and I think when Oli attacks, when we see our attack, we don't ever see Paul Pogba. We don't ever see our wing backs. That's what we usually see. It's just those two. And Rashford, like I said, he's told to take on these two men. Martial is never in this position either under Oli. Bruno is generally more advanced and that's Martial. This one here is Martial.
Yeah.
Then obviously Bruno has done amazing things there, but it just makes no sense. How do you expect them to beat the low block just like that?
Yeah.
For Rashford to be 2 men, whoop it in. Bruno to be 2 men, whoop it in. And still beat the goalkeeper. They're still a freaking goalkeeper. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
So I think with regards to Pochettino, we will see the nice fancy triangles. We will see, sweaty goals, as you like to call it in FIFA. Sweaty goals, tap-ins, crossing. Because, like I said, even Mason.
I wouldn't say that though. I feel like what we do is sweaty goals because it's relying so much on the players coming up with something amazing. I feel like.
I mean,
honestly,
goals
I feel like
in FIFA it's just the term,
Okay, I get you.
Yeah.
But I feel like it'd be much easier for us to score goals if we had a system that can optimize our play.
Exactly, I think so as well, and I think that does suit our play style. I think, it might look defensive, but I just showed you on transition we have freaking 7 players up the field. So I think you could create a lot of things, and like I said, Greenwood is saying that he wants to start scoring more headed goals, but at United for some odd reason we never ever put it on. And the most amazing thing about this is that I know people say you can't just rely on crossing, you can't just rely on the sweaty goals. Yeah, I understand that. Sometimes you do need that Martial finesse or Rashford finesse. You do need it. I'm not denying it. Do it, but minimize it. Don't make it like that's your end all and be all. It's either Rashford's going to do a madness and Bruno's going to do a madness, or we won't score. Because you look at our recent games and how we scored goals. How did we score goals? Crosses. We whipped it. Luke Shaw whipped it in. Bruno hits it. Martial hits it. Or it just bounces across, and someone scores. It's one of my favorite tactics, and I think that's also why I'm so biased at Poch, is because the little the goals that he scores basically is the goals I just like watching. I like watching.
Yeah.
There's no better goal for me still is that when a ball flies into the box and my striker gets on the end of it and just bang, easy, simple. I drill it into my indoor team. It's how I won the league. You sweat it. I don't care. Sometimes you can get your nice goal. Your nice little through ball, cheeky outside the box. You can. Paul Pogba can hit outside the box. Bruno can hit outside the box, but they shouldn't be doing it 4 or 5 times a game. Should be doing it 2-3 times a game. They're doing it so often. It's ridiculous. Because it's been a long show, I think
it has to be asked.
Yeah.
I know we want to end the show because we've been going off forever, but it has to be asked. How long was Poch at Spurs? A very long time. He made 3 finals in that whole time and lost all of them. So it shouldn't be a fact that Poch has not won a trophy. Yes, I know the squad was bad when he started, but the squad he had at the end, one must say, you would think that's good enough to win a trophy with that type of football. So what do you guys think?
I think he can. Like I said, I don't think if Pochettino comes in tomorrow winning the Premier League or the Champions League, I think he could win FA Cups though. He can win Carabao Cups. He can get Champions League easily. I don't have to be stressing every single game. This must win. I can't. Why must I say this every game? Must win. I think Pochettino can do that thing. Whether or not, and just to be real on it, I'll say whether or not Pochettino can win the Premier League or Champions League under the Glazers, I have my doubts. And now people will be like, Shoni, why are you only out then? Because at the end, I still want United to win in it. And if I don't care if Poch wins me only 5 more games than Oli, I'm still taking those 5 extra wins. It's just I want those 5 extra wins. It's 5 less shows I have to sit here complaining that Oli picked Scott McTominay at the head of the diamond for some bizarre reason or something dizzy like that. Or why is he playing Daniel James instead of Rashford on the eye? I don't know. But That's the point. The other thing also is that I've written down here. I want to get you guys' opinion. I've got Poch and Ollie in like this, like there's just a little table and pros and cons of each. Just it was basically at the end of I was just thinking, in my head, what is the big difference? So you guys can tell me, right? So with regards to Ollie, the pros I've got with Ollie is obviously he's a passionate guy. He's a club man. There's no rebuild having to be done. And that he does perform when the big teams come play because that's what suits big teams. I'll be lying to say if even if let's just say Poch got us top 4, he won us trophies and stuff, but that means that every season you don't beat Liverpool, I'll still be hurt. I'll be like, I want to win the league obviously, but I still want to beat Liverpool. So Ollie can do things like that. The cons with Ollie, I've written down. He's also got no trophies. So this whole thing about Poch not having trophies, Ollie doesn't have trophies, and if he does, it's the Norwegian molded league Norwegian trophies. That I mean, count it if you want. In my head, what is that? That's like me saying I want an Indo trophy. I've got more trophies than Poch. Come on, no. So he's got no trophies, no real trophies. He got his Cardiff team relegated. Let's not forget, he got his team relegated. Right? He's inexperienced. He's still inexperienced. He's tactically inept. He doesn't beat the small teams consistently enough, and that is inconsistent. You guys think that's all fair points?
Look, I'll be back right now. Can Clayton answer first on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are very fair points on him. The biggest positives are basically just him being able to kind of bind this team together in essence. That's basically all he's done. He's set the team up, and the biggest comparison I just feel in my heart is it's kind of like when Nigel Pearson took over Leicester and set the team up for a year of just building the team, turning into something great. Then Ranieri came in and they won the league. It feels like something like that for me. That's what Ollie is. It's a stepping stone in my head. It's not a permanent solution whatsoever. And he just hasn't been good enough. And it's looking like
that's the thing.
They want.
I feel like Ollie, he's done his job. Did I want Ollie to win Premier League in a fantasy world? Yes. But was that Ollie's job when he came? No. His job was to bring the feel back of Manchester United back. Yeah. Steady the ship. Make the players happy, make the fans, love the players, love this team again, bring some positivity in. And I think Ollie's done that. He has cleared a lot of Deadwood. It might not be all the Deadwood, but I'm not saying Poch is going to play Rojo and Jones. He's not going to do that. Deadwood will still be Deadwood. So he's laid a foundation. He's left this team in a better state than any other Manchester United team. Now,
I think his time's up. Right now, it feels like it's time.
It's like there was 3 steps. We were in a mess. Yeah. All we wanted was Ollie to come in, lay the foundation, like I said, bring back the feeling, the good feel factor. We are United. Love our players. He's done that. My next step now is I want Champions League consistently. So in my head, Pochettino is that guy. And like I said, I wanted Ollie to win Premier League. So it's like why wouldn't you want us to win a Premier League and stuff? It would have been great if we could. But now Poch is this is the next step. And then there might be a manager after that, but personally I don't feel like it is, because I do think if you back Pochettino, you will get. Like I said, if Poch gets the City job tomorrow, will people really be saying he can't win the league? I can guarantee you now they'll say Pochettino will win the league.
But I do think he'll prove them wrong. There will be those skeptical ones who say he's never won a trophy. Why is Man City hiring him?
The trophy thing, the trophy thing with Poch is just. It's for Ollie. Again, the people who just love Ollie. I'm not slating them or anything. It's a fair point. It's just like you guys want us to win Premier League, Champions League, but Poch has never done it. Where is the evidence to say Poch can do it? He's bottled it. He was in that and he bottled it.
It goes both ways right now. You gotta prove it or not.
Yeah. At Southampton, at Espanyol, was it a team that can't win a trophy? It's not good enough. At Southampton, the same thing. At Spurs, he had to make them that team. And then have to go win.
In my head, Spurs became relevant when Pochettino came.
Really, they did.
So that's Malotto. If you didn't hear, I said, where you heard all the pros and cons for Ollie. So yeah. So you think there was anything?
We can go.
Okay, so pros for Ollie was just that he was, he's a passionate man. He's a club man. There's no rebuild when it comes with Ollie, so we don't have to start all over again. And he beats the big teams, right? That's fair. The cons were. He's also got no real trophies. He got his Cardiff team relegated. He's inexperienced. He's tactically inept. He's very inconsistent against beating small teams, and then also, yeah, just in general, he's inconsistent.
And I think those are damning cons, but I think they're very fair. And I think the rebuild is a big part because we've been through this so many times. So no one really wants to do this again. We're saying this because we want the best for our club and we feel like he's not good enough. But ideal it would be for OLE to continue and rebuild and hopefully win a Premier League someday. So yeah, I think those are fair points.
Yeah. Now with Poch, I'll start off with the cons again. Pochettino's got no trophies. Fair play. Use it all you want. I know people love using that against Pochettino. Like I said, I'm not trying to convince you to bring Poch in. I'm here to state the facts, state my opinions, state what's there on the board. You guys seen the board play and everything. I showed you what Poch will do. I showed you what OLE did. You must make your decision, right? So that's nothing. But yeah, like I said, cons for Poch. He's got no trophies. It's a massive rebuild again. And I put this also as a con because the Glazers will probably still let him down at the end of the day. The Glazers will probably not back him the way that he needs to get back to win a Premier League. I think he will still get a Champions League and start top four, regardless of how we get backed. I think that's what Poch is known to do. But will he win a Premier League and stuff? He needs the backing to do that. So I think that is a con. The pros with Pochettino I wrote down is obviously tactically he's very good. He's a very enthusiastic manager. He's very good with the youth. He's an experienced manager, and he's hella consistent. He's very consistent.
Yeah. Like to sum those up, we will play like a big team, and that's what we want as United fans, really. So, yeah, I can agree with those.
Yeah. So after everything I've said about Poch versus OLE, because that's what this whole show is about, Poch versus OLE, you guys at home make up your own opinion, right? If you want my opinion, it's like a vote. I'm gonna tell you. I'm not supposed to tell you I vote for, but I want Poch. There's no hiding it. I really do want Poch. I think OLE's done his job. I think he's done his job at the time. I don't think he can win a Premier League. I don't think he can be consistent. So I don't think he can get Champions League consistently either. He can prove me wrong on that, but it's looking a bit grim at the moment. I won't lie to you, it's looking a bit grim. Like I said, you remove Bruno. If let's say Bruno gets injured tomorrow, curtains. If Bruno has to get injured under Poch tomorrow, I don't think really it's curtains. I think he will play Donny there or whatever. I think even OLE doesn't like Donny van de Beek. It's no hidden thing. OLE doesn't like playing Paul Pogba. It's no hidden thing. OLE likes Maguire and Lindelof. Who's to say Poch won't play Maguire and Axel Fonseca? So that is what it is. So I am definitely an advocate for Pochettino. However, if you did bring in someone like a Nagelsmann, obviously I don't mind. Marcelo Bielsa's first prize for me though, but that ain't never gonna happen. So who's the best? Second best is a guy who coaches Pochettino. So that's just where I stand. Moloto, after everything we spoke today, anything else you want to add to? And also, the second question is that did anything we mentioned today change your mind on where you stand?
Nah. I love Pochettino. He's actually one of my favorite managers. I'm not sure he's my favorite between him and Pep, but he's one of my favorite managers. And if there's anyone who's going to replace OLE, it's him for me. But at the same time, I feel like we've done this before, And I just want some consistency.
It's the rebuild factor.
Yeah, from the board and from what we're doing on the field. I'm tired of chopping and changing managers. I'm tired of going through a rebuild. And I also feel like, as much as you guys like the jury's out. Yes, if you're asking who's the better manager, I have to say it's Poch. It's definitely Poch. But if you're asking me, do I think there's potential for this manager to do it? I think they might be. So I'm very firm in being OLE unsure. I know it's a weird place. It's sitting on the fence. Sitting on the fence is the worst thing you can do. But yeah, that's who I am. And in terms of how much time I'm going to give him, I can't answer you really. I guess I'll just know when.
I'll ask you this question, right? Obviously, it's just a hypothetical thing. If OLE lost to West Brom, which is I think our next Premier League game, 2-2, West Brom, bottom of the league, I think they haven't won a game. They are awful, and he loses to West Brom somehow, some way. He lost to West Brom, or even a draw, because I don't even think a draw is good. If you show to West Brom, you still need to get sacked.
Oh. Yeah, I'm tempted to say it depends on how we play, and if we're outplayed, yes. But then, no matter what you do, if you lose to West Brom, it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace.
Yeah. So, I think in the immediate future, the only way OLE is getting sacked immediately, I think, if he does somehow lose to West Brom, I don't think you will, but I'm just saying, I think immediately that could be a potential trigger. But other than that, like I said, it's the long goodbye for me. Ole is going to keep winning games, losing games, winning, losing, draw. Then, job on the line, definitely job on the line. We have to win this game or we fight, then he wins it again. And then eventually it's just like, we just missed Champions League by 1 point. Or again, we just got Champions League by 1 point. Keep him silent, whatever it is. So just, it is what it is. It is what it is. But Clayton, also you, after everything we mentioned today, obviously you are Ole out. But, do you think after everything we said, do you think Poch is the right guy? Because I know you do like people like Nagelsmann. I don't know how you feel about Allegri and those people. So, yeah.
I think it just makes the most sense. He's the one available. It doesn't make sense to go out of your way to go poach a manager that's currently a fee to get the contract out, whatever all the process is. But this man's in England. He's ready to work. It's just a question of why not at this point.
I will ask you
I
this.
think
Though,
yeah. 100%.
Personally, I feel like even if maybe this is just me loving Poch too much, but I personally feel like even if we had chose to any manager, this would be the guy I'd go.
That was my question. That was my question. I was going to ask you guys, bar Jurgen and Pep, obviously. Let's say you can have any other manager in world football. Who would your manager be?
For me, it's Poch. Like, as much as I said that whole trophy thing, I was trying to get a different point of view of an argument, but I do feel like he's a top level manager, and whoever gets him will be signing a gem, honestly.
Yeah. Clayton, if you ask that question, any manager in world football, bar obviously Jurgen and Pep.
I think I have a top 3 in all honesty, and it'll probably be a tie between the Poch, Bielsa, and Nagelsmann for sure. I think that's where my head's at. Definitely, I think that's the way forward for a lot of teams right now. Any of those managers, but you probably obviously want the more youthful one than Bielsa. Unfortunately, Shoni, you want someone that's adaptable. You want someone who's going to be
honestly. Sorry.
Bielsa is no surprise, but Poch is definitely my favorite.
I wouldn't want Bielsa, to be honest. I prefer.
I think you're lying to yourself if you wouldn't take Bielsa as a manager. Just for one season.
Definitely.
Give me one season.
Not over Poch.
I love it.
Not over Poch. I feel like Poch suits our problems more. I feel like Poch is more adaptive.
That's the thing. He is a mini Bielsa.
I think
I don't know. This might be wrong, but I feel like Bielsa reminds me more of a Pep. I feel like he's set on a one style of play, which I think it'll be too cute for United. Honestly.
Yeah. Oh. Well, Bielsa is a very highly rated manager, obviously. It's just something about the big clubs he doesn't like. He loves having this damn small club project and beat all the other teams because why not? I'm that good. That's what Bielsa likes doing. He likes going to Liverpool with a no-name team.
Higher than us, right?
Outclass. Yeah, sitting higher than us, freaking Bielsa. And he's got no team. Trust me, that is the weakness. If you had our defenders in that team, dangerous. Dangerous.
No.
But he's got no defense. He's basically not. But yeah, Bielsa. I don't. That's another thing though. Like I would say, Bielsa is obviously my fantasy world manager. But how is there really much of a difference between Bielsa and Pochettino? Poch. I love everything about Poch. You won't see Poch just sitting there, on the iPad. You won't see Poch literally just like me. The Navy, because he likes to say Navy, and he'll be there. Poch is there. He's he's tactically good. I think the players are loving him. He's almost like like a dad to them. Ole is like a dad, but Ole's a strange dad. Scotty, I like you, Scotty. I like you, Maguire. If they don't play under Poch, you're getting out. I mean, every manager has their favourites, but at least the favourites will probably be justified instead of just blatant favouritism, like the Fellaini's, like the Scott McTominays, like the Daniel James, the Matas. It's just ridiculous. And I think Pochettino could get the best of what we've got. At the moment, I don't think Ole is doing that. Because like I said, Ole isn't playing Paul Pogba. He isn't playing Donny van de Beek. I know that you say, if you're getting results, why does it matter? But still, how are you leaving out Donny van de Beek, Paul Pogba, Mason Greenwood even lately?
I think Poch would at least try to get the best out of... Okay, we can say Ole's tried, but I think there's more credentials to get the best out of Paul Pogba.
Well, then again, United, who has had the credit? Well, Mourinho did, but no one's gotten the best out of Paul Pogba. No one.
Fair.
That Juve Paul Pogba is gone. I seen him against France yesterday. Guys, there's something wrong with Paul Pogba.
But if you think about it, though, Just think about it though. Was Mourinho ever the manager to do that? Just think about Mourinho. Never. He wants the more aggressive, hard
I think
player.
Van Gaal could have been a great.
Maybe. I think he was more about the technical players. I think Van Gaal could have been the best. And Ole isn't experienced. So when you look at it like that, you can say Poch probably the most qualified.
But I was just the end of the Poch also again, is that if Poch did have to come to being a Manchester United manager, I think that he will love Bruno Fernandes. There's no... You wanted Bruno Fernandes. You wanted to sign Bruno Fernandes. Who doesn't love Bruno Fernandes?
And get so much more.
You will. With regards to Martial versus Kane, it's very easy to say Martial is no Harry Kane and is not even close to Harry Kane. But I think that Poch could like Harry Kane. I mean, could like Martial, and I think actually you'll see a lot more goals from Anthony Martial.
I think so.
I think he will like Rashford again because he's almost identical to Son. He's just not the finished product. And who made Son the finished product? Poch. So I think he could make Rashford. Greenwood under Poch. Oh, dangerous. Who knows? Who knows what could happen? Daniel James, even he could grow a brain all of a sudden. All of a sudden, Daniel James couldn't be a one-trick pony because probably Ollie says to Dan James, Danny, I need Jamesy, whatever he calls him. I need you to do what you're good at. When you get the ball, I need you to run down the wing and look for Matic or look for Tony or I don't know. Something crazy like that. You just get the ball and run, my boy. That's all you can do. With Poch, I think, they'll try tell him, listen, do this, do that.
I think
basic coaching, which is just phenomenal. Like, I'm trying to think, like, it's hard to believe, because I sound hella arrogant if I tell you Ollie goes there and just says to them, do what you're best at. It's to think of Manchester United doesn't tell Dan James to cut in and look for a tap-in, or tell Rashford to cut in and look for a tap. I mean, it's almost like it's not possible, It's just, how is it possible that he's not doing that? But the evidence shows that clearly nothing's happening. Nothing is happening. So
I feel like it's difficult. You can't it's hard to coach someone to do a specific thing, but then it doesn't align with the rest of the team and have like connect completely. I feel like you need to have a philosophy that the whole team works on the transition, and I just don't think we have that. And on the Poch, we will see some crazy numbers. They're going to see insane amount of assists from Bruno. He's already amazing. I think it'll be even better. I think the amount of goals we see from Rashford.
I think Donny will start being a huge factor. I think Poch loved Donny, actually. He wanted Donny Van de Beek. So again, there's lots of players. The only players I don't think... prospect. I think Poch will want another CDM, because I don't know about Fred Pogba thing. I don't know they work. We've seen they really don't work. Pogba is basically an Ndombele, just a bit weaker defensively, I think. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I don't know, but you can't get rid of probably the best defensive right back in the world. I still stand by.
His backup.
Yeah, so.
I feel like
Dallo back. Dallo's only on loan, so you could, Poch could have a big influence on bringing Diego. People love Diego Dallo, and people seeing what Diego Dallo does at AC Milan recently on loan. People are like, my God. So. It's very interesting. Lots of things. I think this team that Ollie has left, Pochettino could do wonders.
Yeah, I feel like we don't use our strengths, because yes, we do.
We set out to grind teams individually. Yeah. It's almost like that's why we change so much. Ollie looks at who we play next and he's like, okay, now let me try something completely that looks like their weakness, and then doesn't suit us, and then we fail as well. It's like he doesn't have the balance.
Yeah. If you can score more goals, then you don't have to be an expert or amazing.
That's I read out at the beginning of the show, where Ollie's in the Premier League games is conceded as nearly amount of goals as he scored. Says it all. He's got a win percentage of 42%. This is a Man United manager. Win percentage of 42% in the Premier League. Nah.
It's a problem. We need to score more.
Poch is 51%, And that, obviously we don't include a draw because a draw isn't a win. But you're telling me 51% of game Pochettino wins in the Premier League. That's good. I think Fergie had a ridiculous one. Fergie probably had like a 62 or something. But you ain't never getting that back, guys, trust me.
Do you guys think, and this is a very random question I just thought of, then when Liverpool was amazing going forward, some might argue more than amazing than even now, but they were leaking goals at the back. Do you guys think if we put our defense in that Liverpool, do they make top four, or do they challenge for the league title?
Wait, you mean so Liverpool's attack in midfield with our defense?
Yeah, so not that Liverpool that was not now, the one that was scoring a lot but conceding a lot. So basically, move Skirtle and
So
who was it
okay.
again?
I don't think
and
you'll actually
basically-
see an improvement, but I don't think you'll. Because that was a joke.
You won't challenge
I laughed at that team. That was awful.
Yeah.
I know we complain about
Moreno.
ours. That was doubly awful. That goalkeeper played for the opposite team. You know, those centre backs weren't centre backs. They didn't even have. I don't even remember the fullback like Nathaniel Klein and who knows the other one. Trent and Robertson were nowhere to be seen. But yeah. No.
Saka or something.
Yeah.
Saka was so.
Saka was. I actually don't remember the other fullback. I just remember Klein, and for the
That's
life.
Moreno.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's awful.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Liverpool have come a long way. And I think we could come. That's why I said our team sheet. When you look at the squad you're given, we are not doing justice with the players we have. We shouldn't be arguing about Oli having the potential and he still can get top four. It should be done already. We should be able to look at this league saying, okay, it would be nice to win the league, but we got top four in lockdown. Like, you look at Liverpool, maybe not so much City, but you look at Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham. They got top four in lockdown. There's 3 or 4 gone already. 3 or 4 places are gone.
There's an argument that we're the best offensive players, and we should be destroying teams. We should be scoring way more goals.
And yet we defend. We defend. We don't use our attack. That's the crazy thing. And that's also why I'm only out, because I'm like, I'm not out here trying to sit back against West Brom and then, because we're so good in the counter, hit them on the counter. Yeah. I would like to see Sweaty goal for once in my life. Please, Sweat it. Give my boy Tony a tap in. Easy goals. Easy. Because then I can set at the end of the season also. Nah, Marshall's the best striker in the world. Meanwhile, he's scoring 20 tap in the season, but I don't care. It's fun. No, all of a sudden, you have 8 numbers. Yeah.
If you're winning 1-0 and you have talented players, I think it's better to just go, let's try put 2 more. Let's put them under pressure. Because if you're going to be scared and sit back, they're going to get more confident. And your defense is not good enough.
Like, let's just say somehow we sit back against West Brom. They're going to get confident. Like, this is Man United. We can actually get a result here. It'll be a great result for us. Imagine beating a club like Man United. Yeah. So, yeah, it is what it is. I think, it's been a long show, but it's actually almost been 2 hours. My God. It'd be like Oliver's Poch movie or something. So, to end it off, I'm just going to say that if you hopefully this give you some closure. That's what I'm trying to say. If you want the information, this wasn't about ranting about Oli needs to get sacked, because look at the evidence of how good Poch is. This isn't about Poch needs to get the manager job tomorrow and now. It was just about informing you guys on both the managers, how they are factual, whether it be facts, we stated facts, youth, evidence, trophies, tactics, everything. We stated about everything. It was the show we all wanted it to be. We touched on basically everything. I don't think there really isn't anything we've touched on. There really isn't much. So, if you are new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. Please do smash like on the video. Comment down below anything, because there was a long ass show. It's more like a documentary actually. 3 mid-20-year-old guys discussing their favorite club and managers of that club. Heck, if you want me to manage United after you see my whiteboard work, email me, no problem. DM me on Instagram. I love that United job out just like this, all the time. I'll come like this, don't worry. I'm playing. But yeah, gentlemen, it's been a long show. It's been an enjoyable show. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on, add on, any points you guys had in your notes that I haven't discussed already or you wanted to mention?
Ole must beat West Brom. That's all I'll say. Ole doesn't beat West Brom. It's a big problem.
Well, Matt gives you up.
That's it. Bye.
Okay, anything else you want to say? Touch on anything I missed or anything?
We've talked about everything. The big point is basically just I think we all just tired of this juggling, and we just need to stick on a rebuild right now.
I end on this.
It looks like God.
And I'll end it here. This is the last thing. I promise this is the last thing. If you listen to all this way, Mike, I love you. If you listen to all the 2 hours, full 2 hours, no breaks or whatever, I absolutely love you. But I ended on this. Oh my God, I forgot. Oh no. Oh yeah, that's what.
But I would say.
Oli,
Okay.
Oli is either gonna do something we've never seen before and change our minds again, or he's gonna do what we all think he's gonna do and just sack himself in the long run. And that's where I'll. But yeah, Moloto, you gonna end it off with anything?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think the ultimate dilemma, or at least in my mind, is: does Ole deserve more time, or is Poch too good to let go? Really?
Yeah. Is Poch too good to get too good to let go?
Mm.
I think he is. I don't want Poch to go to City because I promise you, can you be crying? Promise
And I
you.
can see that.
Poch goes to PSG,
Anybody you can
promise
come
you,
here
we're gonna be crying. Poch goes to Juve or I don't know,
I'm gonna get a leg
Barca. But, and that's it, right? I'm telling you, if you get Allegri, I'm done. This club, done. Done. I hate Allegri. Absolutely hate Allegri. I'm done with United. Done. It's either you get Poch, Nagelsmann, Bielsa, or I'm done. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. But yeah, until then, boys, we'll check you in the next one. Please do consider subscribing, smash like, all that stuff again. And yeah, before I drag it out for too long, we'll check you.